Oh, buddy.
I mean,
So
there is a difference between knowing something intuitively and then doing the conversion in your head, right? It's like when you take a foreign language and then like you have your first time where you like dream in the language and then you're like, "Oh shit, this is different." Right? Like I'm thinking in this language as opposed to just being like, "Here's a sentence. What does the sentence mean in English?" All right, I'm doing this in English now, right?
Well, yeah, that's
So I mean, there's
language
that.
rather than adding
I think the
thought.
same thing is probably true with like temperature and time that way, right? Like if someone says
No.
like 2200 hours, they're probably just if they're not used to using it, they're like, "Oh, minus
No, no,
12,
no.
10." You know what I
This
mean? Like
man
they're
has
not
been
actually
around
just
me for so
thinking of
long.
2200.
Yeah,
I
but
think
no, hold on, I never said like, "Hey, it's 1,700 hours." To him, right? I don't say it to anyone, right? You've never heard me say it, and I
you've
never
DM'd
will.
me a
Because
lot of times for a lot of things. You've never done that. I was just
yeah,
messing
yeah,
with you.
yeah. No, no,
Never
no,
heard
no,
me
no.
say it,
But,
and
to
You've
I
my
DM'd
will.
me
point
a
is what I'm
lot
saying is that like
of times
when
for a lot
interacting
of
with my
things. You've
friend,
never done that.
I
You've DM'd
never
me a
did
lot
that.
of
He had all the time
times
where
for a
he's
lot of
looking
things. You've
at the
never done
time,
that.
right? It's on my cell phone
lot.
or my clock, my computer, right? Because it's everywhere. Everywhere I can set the time. I'll always set the 24 hours, right? So he's just looking at it, right? And he just doesn't want to do the math. like at all, right? And so he's gonna ask me about it rather than doing the simple thing that he's completely capable of doing.
Well, it's just like cognitive laziness. Some people are just like that, unfortunately. But yeah.
I do though. Here's the thing: if you're not in the military and you're on 2,400-hour time, I get the feeling that the only reason that would ever be convenient to you, as opposed to the time the rest of us are on, is that you're like a piece of shit that randomly just like has no concept of a sleep schedule, and you wake up and you're like, is it morning or is it night? Like that's the only reason that would ever be convenient to you. And so I'm judging you when if I go to your house and I see all the clocks on military time, I'm like, this is a guy that wakes up at 3 o'clock and doesn't know if it's PM or AM. Like, like he has blackout curtains everywhere and he needs the fucking the 2,400 time to like know.
I am a piece of shit. I do have a fucked up sleep schedule, which I would wake up
yeah, for sure. Or streamers, we all do, really.
And
like,
I've been
except for maybe Corey and Lactoid.
I wish I had blackout curtains because yes, I would operate in that way as well. However, those are all separate from the reasons as to why I started using 24-hour time.
Well, you know,
it happens to line up absolutely perfectly.
But that reason makes me want to use one because I legitimately have woken up at like 6 p.m. and 3 p.m. and not known if it's AM or PM. So now I do want to put the effort.
Real quick. Yeah. Now, is your friend upset about asking what time it is because he has to do the conversion of subtracting 12 hours to understand what time it is? Or is it because the math is too difficult because he has to subtract 12 hours and then also do the differential on the clocks for colored people time?
He is black, but he's not as black as Lactoid. He can get to places on time. So
they have clocks that have both. You know, I have one in my bedroom. It's got like the normal time, and I need to set the 24-hour time.
Yeah, I don't need
that. Somehow feels more racist than a Nazi salute to have two clocks.
It's not two clocks. It's one clock that's got
for the
both.
blacks and one's for the rest of us.
I don't know about the racism. I'm talking about the 24. I'm talking about the 24-hour time. Is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I thought you meant like two clocks, and it was like this one's for the blacks, and it's 15 minutes ahead.
Nah, it'd be like 3 hours behind.
Okay, so we're waiting on I think one other person. Oh, that was Ali. Ali.
Yeah, I have no idea. This camera just keeps freezing for some reason every time I try to use it on StreamYard. But I'm trying to figure it out, so I'll tap in a minute.
Take your time, friend. We're not going anywhere. I guess we're here. So a few things before we get to the topic at hand. One, Corey, I guess you're in your living room. Is that what's happening here? Is that what?
Not someone else's living room, but yes, I am in a living room.
A woman's living room? Is that where you're at?
Obviously, one of my many women's living room.
Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. All right. So we like it. Our friend Corey.
If you can't tell by maybe the snow globes in the back, those are not mine. Those are not the stereotypical.
Women like snow globes.
Sure. Apparently, like we all knew your deep seething hatred of snow globes. Like fucking what? Like you can't tell? There's fucking snow globes around me. I'm be fucking caught dead with snow globes on a fucking cabinet somewhere.
Generally speaking, I think there's more women collecting snow globes than men, but I could be mistaken about that.
It's the most autistic thing I've ever heard, and I'm a libertarian. Like fucking clearly you did the statistical probability of whether or not I own snow globes.
I did.
And you would know that it is leaning more in
Okay, just like who collects guns more? Pretty sure it's mostly men that collect guns.
Well, hold on. Are snow globes gendered? Do you guys get the sense of that? Like if you visited a man's
feels
house,
more like a grandma thing to me than like a woman thing per se.
A grandma is a woman, I believe, a type of woman, maybe.
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze collected snow globes.
I just mean like I don't know like too many 17-year-old girls or 19-year-old girls or 20-year-old girls that like have a snow globe collection.
Let me make it perfect. I would not be in a 17-year-old's living room. I want to make that perfectly clear.
Fair enough.
You don't have family? Like what the fuck, dude? Oh, that's right. You're left wing. You people don't fucking breed.
Okay, all right.
And if you do, you just abort them.
You guys think
it's got real dark real quick.
You guys you think that it's a female thing? Does everyone else think that snow globes are necessarily a female thing?
I think more than like 2 or 3. Coded. Yeah, I think more than 2 or 3. Yeah, that's female. Like, I mean, you might like, I'm in Disney World, and they have like a cool battle scene fucking thing or something. I might buy one, and then I might buy one for my nephew or niece or something. And then but if you collect 2 or 3 of them, more than that, then
you become a snow globe collector.
Yeah, I think that's female coded. I mean, when are you getting out of this as a guy? Oh, look at the little snow. The ballerina dances. No, I mean.
I feel like if you're a legitimate collector,
Allah for the fucking camera working down there, buddy.
Listen, whatever one works, whoever you pray to that works. Elon Musk, who is it?
The Omnissiah. That's who you need to pray to get your camera work, right?
Non-fun.
No, I feel like if you're a legitimate collector, that's more like autistic male coded. But if you just have a lot of snow globes because you think they're cute, that's more like
dinosaurs or something. But
okay. Cool. All right. Well, I never really looked at it like that. I mean, I could see.
Autistic son would lose his shit for a snow globe. Now that I'm thinking about it, he would be "Fucking let's go."
If I saw like a guy and he had like a bunch of snow globes, I think it would be odd, just because you usually don't see a lot of people with a lot of snow globes, right? You just people see someone with a few of them at the very most, right? So I think it'd be odd. I would ask him about it, but it wouldn't read to me as feminine or anything out of place gender wise, I should say. But maybe I could be alone on that one. I'll accept it.
If I
actually think it'd be weird if a girl was collecting snow globes.
Yeah. If I add the context that the snow globes are a reflection of each travel destination, they get a snow globe. Does that change the equation?
Yeah, because now they're a whore. I've heard from the internet that girls that travel are whores. I don't know if I believe it or not, but I'm going to repeat this talking point.
God. I think it's a nice thing to collect. But okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, she's collecting something other than snow globes. All right.
Yeah, dicks.
In Scottsville, I would not make that.
But anyway, let's.
Why are you explaining the joke? All right, it's not funny anymore.
Oh yeah, sure. Sure. I'm the one who ruined that. All right. Do you guys see it broke only a few hours ago that MSNBC changed its name?
MS Now.
MS Now. MySpace for News, Opinion, and World. They were struggling with that one.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Pause.
Yep.
MySpace is coming back. Is that what you said?
MySpace.
The MS stands for
for
MySpace.
News, Opinion, and World. MS Space Now is what MSNBC is going for.
That's terrible.
This is, and I'm not sure. Maybe you missed.
This is what happens when you hire fucking millennials with college degrees to do your shit, right? Millennial women are so fucking bad at this. Oh, you have a company logo? I know how to make it better. I'm gonna make it fucking blocky text randomness that's super simplified.
It's weird that women are always your target. It's super weird. Any which way. In case for people who don't know, right? MSNBC.
In case for people who don't know, I hate women. All right, did you get that yet?
Yeah.
You pick up on the vibe.
And also whores are bad at branding. Bad marketers as well. All the whores.
Hold on. There's a Venn diagram of whores and millennial white women. Okay, putting them together. All right. Now I'm not saying they're the one and the same.
You can't be like a good escort about being able to advertise.
Listen, I'm just trying to attract black women. Okay, so I need to shit on white women as much as possible, and then one of them will fall into my lap. That's how this works, Prime.
Oh, all right. You'll have.
I don't think that's how it works.
Or maybe just maybe I don't take the conversation about MS-now super seriously.
My God. Understood. I'm just trying to explain it for anyone else who might not understand what we're talking about. Just so for anyone who doesn't know, right? Is that MSNBC and a bunch of other programs from channels from NBC have been spun off. They're going to spin off to a separate channel, and that's going to be called Versant. VERSESANT. I believe it's how it's spelled. So they got to get the NBC out because they're not part of NBC Universal anymore. And they haven't been part of Microsoft, which is what the MS stuff were before, for a long time. So I guess they're like, all right, I guess we'll just change it all. But yeah, MySpace and all.
That's terrible.
They were struggling. Yeah, not good. And their logo is also bad too, right? I mean, like I guess Scott mentioned before, but the logo actually.
Yeah. You mad, but I'm not wrong.
I'm not. Oh God. Hey. Could someone check? Corey, can you do me a favor? Check to make sure my sound is working.
It is pretty awful. The new logo is pretty fucking awful. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh wait, real quick. Am I a little bit louder now? I think I.
You sound good to me.
I've turned you down a little bit.
Oh okay. God, bro, this is terrible. I love how like the first image I have is a picture of her.
Yeah, you're definitely not using the right mic.
I was 100% right on the logo. I was just pulling that out of my fucking ass.
So it's got Rachel
I
Maddow.
Know who designed it. I bet it was a millennial white woman. And then you need to fucking apologize because I'm just so accurate with my misogyny.
Testing, Corey. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely. This is crazy. It's the first image I see is literally.
I think it's good for now.
Blocky letters, like a jar with fucking Rachel Maddow's face next to it.
I fucking
it's like her worst photo ever.
So accurately. How dare you talk shit on me?
Okay.
Just take this L and move on to the next time I shit on women. It won't take that long.
Okay.
Listen, Prime's trying to attract women that need defending, and you're trying to attract black women. You guys could be working together in tandem. Okay, that's what should be happening.
I'm just looking for my unicorn Jasmine Crockett. Okay.
And yet,
oh my God, I was just watching a video of Jasmine Crockett. Actually, was being interviewed.
I gotta mute it because I don't want to hear what the fuck that dumb bitch says. But good God,
you got her. She's in the yellow dress, the yellow green dress. Is that the one?
I'm not following her to that degree that I'm following her outfits of the day. I'm just saying when
Speaking
of outfits of the day right now, did y'all see Lacroix got a swingers uniform on?
Political goon.
So a couple things. First thing, I just checked. The person who made the decision for the logo is a millennial white woman, ironically.
And I like your swingers uniform.
But they're the ones with the graphic design degrees, guys.
The second thing is, Gibbs is right. I got this shirt because apparently a family friend was giving away like a bunch of shirts, and I took a bunch of shirts. I didn't know this at the time, but apparently it is the case that pineapples on your shirt means you're down to fuck somebody else's wife. I didn't know that.
And let your wife be fucked.
And an upside down pineapple on your front.
Well, I don't have a wife, so I'm okay. I'm kind of okay with whatever this would represent then, and until that happens.
But that might be telling other people that you're.
They might want to watch though. Are you okay with them watching?
It would depend.
Do you perform well?
I don't know. I've never tried. I've never had somebody watch me while I.
Would you be okay with it? You don't seem opposed.
If she was sufficiently attractive enough and like he was sufficiently not weird enough, I could give it a shot. Yeah.
The's no fucking way to have someone that wants to watch you fuck his wife isn't going to be weird as fuck.
I mean, like weird. Like I understand there's like a baseline level of weird for sure. Okay, but I'm saying like. Real, like,
quick question: what would be worse?
If he's in the background,
it's working.
Yeah.
What would be worse?
It's working.
Quick question: Quick question: what would be worse? Him sitting in the cuck chair, egging you on, or
fuck that bitch,
making very quiet noises with just a single eyeball from the closet?
Oh yeah, like grunting.
I would rather take the second one. That's fucking weird, dude. Yeah, that second one, I can't do that.
Yeah, like turtle sex noises. Just one eyeball and the occasional.
Yeah, no, not anything but that. Yeah, I would rather take the whole like, yeah, go get her. I'd rather take that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's something he's used to.
I just like that we're slowly making that one more degenerate just by being here. It's working.
Ever so slowly, we'll get him there. No, I think Lactoid is a degenerate, right? But like in the opposite direction, right? Like it's not that like it'd be one thing if you
what
was
degenerate means.
He's classy.
No. It would be one thing if Lactoid was like purity culture, right? That's not Lactoid, right? He's not like hard purity culture. Like but he's like anti-sex in like really weird like serial killer ways. That's the thing. That's
like he's down to cuck. He's down to cuck. He's not. He will not be cucked, right? But It's limited. Whatever can like whatever benefits him, he's down for.
It also depends on the kind of marriage too. Like if I feel like I'm doing something wrong, then I wouldn't do it, right? Like if they've got kids or it's like something like that. But if I really don't like him,
why does it matter if they got kids? What if they're like,
yeah, why does it matter exactly?
Now you're gonna hate fuck his wife? Like I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
now you're getting more degenerate.
Yeah, it's not more degenerate. No, because if it's a good marriage and he's like a good guy, I wouldn't want to like.
Well, right. So you would do it a bad marriage.
The swinging. It's not that good of a marriage, brother.
No.
I know some swingers been around like 40 years.
No, I think it is a good marriage, right? Like they're open with their desires, right? And they've invited, right, a very handsome Swedish man into their bedroom, right? She picked him out. I was like, I gotta get that guy. I walked into his law offices. I couldn't take my eyes off of him, right?
What if she makes you wear like a Swedish outfit? Like she wants you to wear the clogs and like the lingohosen.
No.
Would you speak in Swedish to him?
You gotta come in there and be like, "How are you doing today?" You know, like really stereotypical. You know,
how are you ready?
Mario,
that was so.
How are you ready to be stopped to buy the stuff to schnitzel?
That would be awesome. I love that idea. But anyway, still, right? Like they're letting you into their marriage. They're both there together. They're not sneaking behind each other's backs, right? And actually, hold on. I want to talk about this for a second. Now, I this is not the direction I want to take things, but like once again,
Scott just accidentally wants to talk about cucking. Okay, all
right. Okay. No, what I want to talk about though is what you guys think is worse. Because I had this discussion. I guess
son, thought daughter, go.
I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry.
You don't know gay son thought daughter?
I've never heard this before. I'm sorry.
Oh my god!
What would you prefer, gay son or thought daughter?
I don't know what you're talking, guys. I don't know what you're
talking. All right, well, answer the question. Would you choose gay son or thought daughter?
Wait, he doesn't know what a thought is. You don't know what a thought is.
I know what a thought is, but I don't know what you're asking me.
You know what a gay son is?
A gay son or a daughter that's a hoe? That's the question.
I'm fine with either one. That's fine.
You have to pick one.
I love all my children.
You gotta pick one.
Oh, I gotta pick one.
And it's not just. And it's like the
lightning round.
Just it's like they're very in your face about it. Like it's like gay. Like
no.
Butt sex at Christmas.
Gay son, thought daughter. Lightning round.
Same thing. Same thing. Thought daughter.
Can only pick one.
They're fucking in front of you at Christmas.
Good choice.
I always pick gay son too. To be honest.
Yeah.
But that's because I'm a misogynist, I guess.
That must say something about me now. Any which way, back to it. So I had this discussion. It was on ABE, like last year, I guess. And it came up like about cheating, right? Cheating on your girlfriend. Now I was telling the people there, right, the black people there, that I don't cheat, right? I've never cheated.
And they were like, "What? I'm taking your black card."
Well, they didn't quite say that, but close enough. But there was this whole thing
about
joking,
like Jesus.
Well, the conversations we have. I mean, it's crazy. They were saying a friend of mine, Bam, and I wish he was here to defend himself actually, because if he was here, I might even DM him to get him on to talk about this, because he heavily defended the idea of cheating on your girlfriend, not just like, hey, it's okay, but it's more expected. You might as well do it, right? That
the boy really watches Fresh and Fit.
A normal of a relationship, right? And yeah, like you should.
Well, see, you want to know where he's wrong? I'll tell you where he's wrong.
Just delusional.
No, it's not that he's delusional. No, you know where he's wrong? It's only cheating if you get caught. That's the big rule right there. So
no,
if you don't get caught, not cheating.
Oh wait, I want to clarify. Like he means like actively cheating, like deception, or just like open relationships?
No, he means a deception for sure.
Okay.
You might as well just be fucking on the side and not saying anything, and if you get caught, just own up to it. Really.
Or gaslight him.
It's the method, you know. Well, you know, this is 2021.
Or just relentlessly gaslight.
Yeah, I'm on the gaslighting thing. No,
I'm of the option of just like be honest, right? And then like, you know, most of the time you just.
I mean, if you're cheating, you're not really being honest to begin with.
I feel like
I'm saying
I feel like this is one of those
things.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But if you're actively cheating, I feel like this is one of those things that's so absurd to say that like I don't even actually feel the need to debate the topic. I'm just like, nah, I'm not with that. And then people are like, okay, you're a normal person instead of a crazy person.
Are you though?
Like that's just such an insane take to be like,
I don't think it
is. You absolutely should.
I don't see
lie
you
to the
getting into
people
a
you
relationship
love
and lying.
And
I wouldn't.
And then go out and risk pregnancy and STDs with strangers.
Yeah, I don't see you.
I don't know.
No.
That's retarded.
Forget. I don't see you getting into a relationship and then lying about sleeping with other. Like I don't see you doing that.
I would be like, we're gonna go fuck that bitch together. I would definitely be like, we're gonna go fuck that bitch together. Yeah, but
that's not.
But I do want to caveat. Cheating. I do want to caveat that like there are people I will say that will cheat, and if it's like if they never get caught, like I know a guy. He's got like his whole life together, whatever. But one time a year, he's like, all right, we're going to go do a bunch of drugs on the weekend, and we're going to just like have a bunch of hookers and fuck them. And he goes one time a year, and then he goes back and lives 364 days a year as a good husband, right? Like the rest of the time. He's like, I just got to get it out of the system. And I want to do things that these women that I don't want to do to my wife.
The purge.
But, like the purge before. And he's like, she never caught me, so it's not cheating. And I'm like, well, you have to get caught for it to be cheating. So that's
she knows what's going on, brother. But
it's still cheating, but I mean, like, I will say, if you're going to cheat, the probably the least likely to be destructive, though it is destructive, would be a man cheating with a sex worker for multiple reasons. Number one, there's, I think women when they, I just think the dynamic of women cheating is a little bit different than men cheating.
100%. 100%.
Men tend to value it for the sex in and of itself, and it's not necessarily an escape from the relationship or a means of like setting up a new relationship to leave or like trying to go out there and explore things. It's like it's exactly as Admiral Gibbs said. It's like I want to go do crazy shit that I don't want to do with my wife. That being said, it's still destructive. It's still unhealthy. It can still lead to a lot of toxic things in your relationship, but it's definitely the least form of it. And then because it's a sex worker or I don't know why I'm saying sex worker. Fuck that term, whore. Because it's a whore, you're like, there's not like you're gaining any value or that there's any like potentiality of like engaging in a relationship with this person, which, I mean, you can look at studies. Again, I'm not condoning any form of cheating, but you will see that, the predominant fear from women is that a man falls in love with another woman, right? That like her security in her relationship is threatened, right? Whereas a male, and some people theorize, evolutionary psychology is kind of a lot of guesswork, right? But people theorize, it's a kinship theory thing maybe, right? That men are more afraid of their woman being physically fucked by another dude, right? Because maybe it's like a biological thing about the concept of like being cucked literally and raising someone else's child, etc. But in both instances, it's not a healthy behavior to engage in. It's almost certainly going to lead to problems in your relationship, even if you don't want to do it.
I want to say there's one thing I have done that's I've never cheated, but I have done this.
Look what you started, Prime.
Well, it's not morally worse, but it is more likely to be destructive.
I think more likely to be destructive makes it morally worse.
I've done this and it's worked every time. Worked every time.
I'll do that in a second.
I wanted to fuck somebody. And I was like, oh, I'm dating somebody. So I just called and broke up with them. And they're like, why? I'm like, I'm going to go fuck somebody else. And then I go, and every single time they've gotten back with me later. So it's worked. I'm just saying.
It's not cheating.
Now
you're not cheating.
Now you're not cheating and you put them in their place.
It's massively immature, but yes.
No, it's not immature.
Maybe I'm super weird and conservative, but like I do the fucking...
It works.
Like I do it like the Christians do it, man. I'm like, oh, you want to be in a room alone with me? I'm dating someone. No, thank you. Like I just don't put myself in those positions. I remember when I was in college, and like some girl wanted to come over.
Women just want to come over and do
like a group project.
She
was like, yeah, let me come over to your house and do a group project. And I was like, fuck no, not happening. Not in a million years.
Nope.
She was like,
not allowed around me.
No, not happening. I'm not going to be in a non-public space with you because I know who I am. Like, not happening.
Enrico Suave
it's the implication, bro.
Get start throwing themselves at him.
It's the implication, bro.
No, I mean, I just wouldn't put. I know that I'm not that strong of a fucking man, so I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm alone with someone I'm sexually attracted to. I'm just never going to do it.
That's
you know that the other half of the equation is they have to want to fuck you too, right?
Hopefully that's the other half of the equation. Maybe it's
I'm not saying I'm stopping the rape mind. I'm just saying that like
not what I'm saying either.
Like I don't put myself in those positions where I'm in the position to cheat.
It's the implication.
Wait, all I'm saying is like let's just say you are like alone with someone, right? Just because you're attracted to them don't mean shit. If they're not attracted to you, you ain't fucking. So like you ain't.
Well,
cheating.
Hold on. That's when you make them laugh.
I mean, if you're
and then if they're laughing hard enough, their eyes are closed.
I'm not saying
you have no self control, sir.
You guys are pretending like I just said every woman that wants to be alone with me clearly wants this dick. I didn't say that.
Yeah,
I'm just saying I don't put myself in a position where I might like if they came on to me. And I'm like fucking alone, so like I don't want to be in that position.
I've heard you speak. I'm looking at you. It's kind of like a pretty fair assumption that every woman that's around you wants you. So like,
I want to ask if you guys think this is like weird or not.
There was one time multiple married women trying.
It's about lactoid and sex.
Happens often enough.
No, I think
enough where married women want to cheat with me. Where I'm like, dude,
once lactoid gets laid, all these opinions are going to change, right? It's just a little bit of repression.
I have been laid. First of all, second of all. The specific scenario was it was college, all right, and I had a group project with a girl, and it was like a normal group project, and I was like, hey, like when do you want to meet after class to like do this group project? And she was like, sure, let's meet at this time. I'm like, okay, and so we went to like a public like library with other people, and so I came down and like sat down at a table, and then she came and like she had all her books and stuff, and then her boyfriend was there too. And her boyfriend sat down and just awkwardly sat there and just like didn't look at me, didn't acknowledge me, and just sat there. No, he just sat there like the full like 3 hours that we were doing the group project, and he just sat there, not even on his phone. He just sat there the whole time. And then like
the problem is you weren't wearing that pineapple shirt.
Yeah, sure with a pineapple shirt.
I think that's like a.
If you'd been wearing that pineapple shirt, you'd had a much better time.
Aware.
I think that like that's.
I'm here.
But he was like so much smaller than me. Like he couldn't have stopped me.
So much smaller, bro.
He could have stopped me if not.
but regardless, like I think that's like a little bit controlling.
Everyone's bitch, bro.
That's a little bit controlling behavior. That's like messed
weird.
up. Yeah.
Well, how do you know the girl didn't ask him to be there? Maybe she was so weirded out by you that she felt like she
weird
there. You know.
All right, whoa.
She probably heard your sex tapes.
I can't. A handsome guy. I think the guy felt.
I can't disprove that, but like I wasn't being weird at all, and like she seemed to like we got along as friends, and I don't know, it just seemed pretty normal. I think it was more the boyfriend just based on his body language, like he was the one like acting like really cold and like standoffish and like was just like sitting there. I don't know. It seemed like he was the weird one, but
those men that are possessive.
Not a neutral observer.
That's pretty possessive, I think.
Hey,
those men exist a lot.
Frozenite, tell me if my audio is still weird. Let me know.
I was fine here.
I was sounding double to people on stream. But in any case, okay. So multiple things here. So what was that? I missed it because I was doing something. Alacta, what was the question you were trying to ask us about that? Like about
because somebody talked before about like Scott, you were saying that like, oh, like girls that want to come like study with you, and you're like, no way, because I know what's gonna happen. I mean, I guess that's one thing. I don't know. I think that's a little bit odd. But what I think is even more odd is like when the boyfriend like insists on coming along to like chaperone a study project for a class in a public place with other people around. It's not like I was like in her bedroom. We were in the middle of a library. Yeah, it seems a little bit odd. Yes. Yeah, that's like pretty massive insecurity.
You said just to not fucking straw man me and put words in my mouth. I'm not saying because I know what's gonna happen. All right,
he knows.
But I will say this about me specifically: I'm a flirt, and I don't even mean anything by it. I just do it all the time. I flirt with everyone.
I
flirt with guys. I flirt with girls.
Flirting right now
with old ladies. Like if you're the cashier at the grocery store, like
every time he calls you a socialist,
I'm probably like, oh my god, those are such cute earrings, right? And then people are like, oh, is he flirting with me? No, I just like your earrings. I'm just a very extroverted person, and I get misunderstood often as like flirting with people when I'm not actually flirting with them.
Flirting. I've known you for like 3 fucking. When does the flirting start?
He's been doing it all along.
You should do it now.
When I'm
flirting
online right now, right? Like we're not in person. Number one, and number two, I have like an online persona and a bunch of other things going on. But like, I'm just the type of person that will randomly talk to people just because I'm bored and you're there, and I'll say things that are complimentary or like make a little joke or something, and then like before you know it, people mistake my intentions as like I'm flirting with them, and like on top of that, I am but a man, and so I don't want to be mistaken for flirting with you while we're alone somewhere. Like I just don't want to be in that situation.
So people have thought that I've been flirting with them when I'm not as well. That's happened to me multiple times as well. But like I hear
somebody donated a super chat just to say that this content is age restricted for non-fun.
That's pretty good.
I'm above 18 to be clear, but
he probably wants it to be age restricted. I'll be honest.
Not about no. I'm 19.
You can't drink. All right, we'll keep Gibbs away from you.
Come to Canada, you can drink. Not that I recommend that, but
that's why you should come to Canada.
So
Corey poisoning the youth.
Why is it going back to and we do have again like the people watching my stream, we have a topic, the lab grown meat thing, but before we get there, okay, right, we're talking about cheating because of course those two things, one would follow the other.
Important.
But
cheating on meat, you know.
Yeah, so one, I don't understand, Lactoid, why you think that it's worse when a woman cheats. You're saying it's more destructive.
Yeah.
We're talking about
it's kind of obvious.
It's not obvious.
Sure. Well, sure. So so Scott was and I agree with it. Just to be clear, Scott made the point that it's usually more destructive when a woman cheats, and so therefore it's like comparably. And then I made the point that I think it's therefore comparably more morally wrong. There's a couple arguments here. The first one, I mean, really, I think the most important one is that women tend to cheat for different reasons. Like they tend to be more emotionally vested in affairs that they have. It tends to be less about like the physical and more about the emotional. This is generally how women operate. Then the other part is just like a straight analysis.
How does that make it more destructive, though? What's the connection?
Well, because I think that I think the two possible harms that come with cheating are like emotional attachment with somebody else. That can cause a disruption in like your emotional attachment with your current partner. And then also the potential physical things that can go wrong with sexual activity. So I think that for both of these categories, there's a higher risk when it comes to women. Firstly, because there's a higher risk that the woman's going to get emotionally attached, and also women are not only we're talking about the pregnancy where it's possible that she gets pregnant, but then women are more likely to get STDs per sexual act compared to men. Just like a factual statement. So.
And other health-related issues like UTIs and things like that.
But
I mean, but that's just like sex in general is more risky on average.
Right, exactly. So she's out like banging other guys. Her risk, like
right. This isn't a condemnation of like women as like a spiritual being, right? Like it's it's just like what is potentially more harmful.
It's a math problem.
From like
Okay, so maybe I misconstrued, but at least the message that I got is somehow it like when you're using the word destructive, okay, why I must misinterpret things of like it's somehow just like more inherently destructive to like something grander as opposed to you just seem to be praying. It's like it's just there's more health risks associated with a woman cheating.
Well, and
okay, but if a woman is more likely to get an STD or get a UTI or something else, right? These are things that fall into the category, as Admiral Gibbs so eloquently said, it's not cheating if you don't get caught, right?
Yes.
So, right, so
if a woman
gets an STD, you're gonna get fucking caught, right? If you've been with a partner for 2 years and the man is per se loyal and the woman is loyal and monogamous for 2 years, and then an STD gets into the relationship. Well, then all of a sudden we're like, okay, now we know that somebody's been cheating, right?
But then let's just let's then limit it because as Lactoid brought up, okay, assuming it's true, and that generally I think that is correct in terms of the cheating on the woman's part is more emotional. So let's just say if they're just emotionally cheating, is that more, and it's isolated to just that alone, is that more destructive then?
Probably.
It depends. It depends. Like it's a really subjective analysis.
I'm pointing that to specifically to Lactoid. If it's just that, is that more destructive? And if so, how?
So I guess when I was referring to cheating, I was really talking about like some kind of extra relationship or extramarital, like sexual.
But you just said, but you brought up cheating as you brought up an emotional component, though.
Well, so right? Yeah, I think there's.
He's trying to answer your question. What's Corey's so animated, right? Oh, Corey's in a woman's house right now. He's trying to defend women. I get it.
I think there's like an emotional aspect to sex.
And I'm cheating too right now. No.
No, there's an emotional aspect to sex, but like
so
I just want to make it clear that I'm
writing a paper.
I'm talking about like extramarital or extra relationship, like sexual liaison, as opposed to what some people like refer to as just like emotional cheating. I think that can be like a little bit difficult.
Well, then when men have that's emotional cheating too. Like how is there?
Yes, but to a lesser extent. I think that guys are more able to like have sex and not have as much of emotional attachment to the person they're having sex with, as compared to women who very often they have an emotional attachment or are more likely to develop an emotional attachment to the person they're having sex with.
I think a better way of putting it is this: is that men are more likely, though obviously this is potential in any cheating situation, right? But men are more likely to be able to compartmentalize the sex as just sex and still be in the relationship. Now, nevertheless, that's still destructive towards the relationship, right? Especially if you're no longer doting on your wife or you back off because you're not having that sexual give and play that, quid pro quo that, people like to blame as evil because it's transactional, but is just a reality, right? Date nights and romantic things to try and, garner that attention that make that partner feel loved, seen, valid, etc. That then in part that connection allows her to be vulnerable, which allows you to have sex. So it can create this, this negative feedback loop where you're getting that elsewhere. And then you end up treating your partner like shit. Like there's a lot of problems with men cheating, even if they compartmentalize it.
Yeah.
But it's also reasonable on the woman's side too.
What I would say the difference is that a lot of times when women cheat, they're looking for a backup plan or escape from the relationship. Right? Like when it's reached the level that women are cheating, they're looking to they've already kind of like begun to break up with you because they're looking for a different man. They're seeing what's out there on the market, what kind of attention can they get, or maybe they're looking for someone that they can move to next, or there's a lot of different ways in which that applies. And so often when women start the process of cheating, it's maybe not in the grand scale, but at the individual level, it's kind of like the inevitable downfall of a relationship that's already over.
Yeah, that's like a monkey.
Whereas men might go out men are more likely to go out and cheat just to get something else or something strange or something crazy, keep that a fucking secret, and then just maintain the relationship. That isn't to say women don't do that. They absolutely do. And that isn't to say men don't go off and fall in love with women and then leave. It's
also more acceptable though, like from like one way. Like if you go like women, like they're already kind of like sexual, right, with other women. They flirt. There's more fluidity to their sexuality, even among like super Christian whatever ones. It seems like though, like if like say you go out and you cheat on your wife and it's like a Playboy buddy, and you come back and like, oh, it was obviously just sex. I fucked this. They're gonna be like, they'll be mad, but they'll be like, okay, how mad are they really? Like it's not as bad. I've seen a lot of that too.
Fuck the Playboy bunny.
Like or some like model or some girl that's like way out of their league. They're like, oh yeah, I look like Helga. And this girl looks like she could be fucking from Transformers or something, or some super movie star.
I don't know if I'm an insecure man, but if like my partner went out and was like, no, don't be mad, he's just a D1 athlete or something, I'd be like, no, that's worse.
That sucks to suck for you, I guess.
That'd be a problem for me. It's like maybe I'm insecure. I don't fucking know. I'd be
self-confidence as long as you fuck up.
Yeah, you gotta fuck up. Oh yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Corey.
So then, Lactoid, I want to clarify further. So, in the absence of sex, does emotional cheating exist for you? That is just like that's all just one and the same as a package deal. Like if a woman,
that's tough. I mean, what is that?
If a woman is going on, let's say every week romantic candlelight dinners with her coworker, is that emotional cheating to you, or they have to have?
How do you feel about a work husband?
So then,
how do you feel about a work husband?
That woman is just lying about the fact that they're fucking. That's all.
It doesn't even have to be dates.
That's irrelevant. Before you add your thing,
let's get this question, Corey.
So if they're just engaging in that, is that emotional cheating? And if so, how is that more destructive if they're not having sex?
I mean that one, if they're not having sex, I mean that one might not be more destructive because they're already at the point where they're both like just solely engaged in some kind of like direct emotional kind of thing. I was specifically referring to, again, like some kind of like extra relationship or extramarital like sexual liaison. Like,
yeah, but
I don't know.
You seem to frame it as like emotional cheating that involves sex by women, but then you seem to carve it up. That's different for a man's motivation.
No, other way around.
Intentionally misunderstanding shit and getting weird right now, Corey.
Other way around. No. I think that like so if we have like a man who like just like steps out on his wife, like Gibbs the person was talking about, right? If you had a guy who steps out on his wife and just goes and bangs a random chick, and then you have a woman who like goes out and bangs a random guy, I think that like in this scenario, the woman has a higher chance of STDs, a chance of getting pregnant, and a higher chance of like becoming emotionally connected or developing feelings or having like an emotional bond with the person that they just went out and fucked, which can compromise their current relationship. I think all three of those things are accurate.
Maybe just be better than that.
You've never met like just women who cheat on their husbands and just like, they're not going to leave them or anything.
It's rare. I'm sure it happens. Hold on. I'm not saying I think it's more rare. It's more rare than men who do that. I
because there's more of a social stigma on women who cheat, right? There's less of a social stigma on men cheating because of
but
this.
it's also women,
right? Because
we need to keep it that way. We need to keep it that way.
Come on. Like
traditionally,
and you're gonna roll your eyes at this, but this is true. Ali, look, I'm sure you know this, unlike maybe Prime or Corey, but like we've had women in the past where we've told them, hey, this isn't like a serious thing. This is just like a thing that we're like just buds, but like
I'm a guy's guy.
No, no. Ali knows what I'm talking about. Like we're buds, but sometimes like we fuck, right? That's kind of all we are.
Yeah,
and like. How often is it the case in those situations that the woman is like falls, develops feelings, and then you got to cut it off, and it's like a really awful situation.
I mean,
every fucking time. Every fucking time.
No, sorry,
never the other way around.
The
guy.
It's always the other way around.
I don't know about never. And there are guys that get pussy whipped pretty far.
Bro, there's a lot of guys that get pussy whipped. What are you talking about?
Now I can't wait.
Bro, there's guys getting pussy whipped left and right. This is crazy. This is crazy.
First of all, on the pregnancy thing, right? A cheating man can get a third-person woman pregnant, right?
Multiple. Yeah, he can keep it secret.
Whatever. Okay, so it's just child support then.
Okay, whatever. All right, so
he's got to pay child support. He's going to
bring child support. Pussy whipped.
But I'm saying it's in terms of disruption to a relationship, which is the thing we were talking about previously, right? Yes, it gets pretty disruptive.
Multiple women pregnant.
A man cheats
pregnant. It's less than getting pregnant.
A woman can get pregnant by one guy. A guy can get multiple girls pregnant.
Right? Hold on. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can get multiple girls pregnant. That's another thing. Yeah, that's a good idea, right? I mean, if this guy's a cheater, right?
That's a good idea.
Spread the genes, the lineage.
But yeah, you can get multiple.
I've got that dog
it can be so much more destructive, right? But
Nick Cannon over here.
I wholly reject this idea. It's worse than, when a woman does it. Like I think these things are equal. And
it's totally worse.
Everything's equal.
Would you deal with any of the arguments that I put forward or Lactoid did?
I'm not even talking. I haven't written down anything you said. I only written down things that Lactoid said. So I don't remember what you said. But Lactoid. Okay, thank you.
I don't remember any of your arguments, therefore I'm right.
Prime just thought you were flirting, so he just ignored it.
Yeah.
Listen, can we be honest? Can we just be honest? It's worse because
I fell into Scott's eyes, and I had no idea. Like time just evaporated.
You, man.
But anyway,
it's the soft blue light filter on these glasses.
I also have another argument. Can I give you my other argument, because you're really going to hate this one. I think another reason why it's worse that when women do that is because men, because they're higher sex drive, I think it's like more understandable when it's like, oh, they feel like this compulsion to do it, as opposed to women who don't have that high of a sex drive, and so like they should have more.
That's what I said.
Oh my
God! Oh, it's a hot bitch. I understand. Even talked it. Thank you for agreeing with me. I appreciate it.
No, I'm sorry. I'm listening to these people who like
are so funny.
Have like the most I'm not going to call you red pill, but you have like the basic red pill idea of like how women work, right? Like one, men have a higher sex drive than women. No, that's not a thing.
That is scientifically accurate on average.
100% true.
No. These women are taught to.
I don't know the women you guys know. I want to meet these women.
Please.
I know some pretty horny women though.
That they don't know how to get.
I want to interview them. I want to have a conversation.
Self-report.
Women are told to be ashamed of their sex drive, right? But the women love sex too. So like, so I want to put that aside. Like women have a high sex drive.
It's just less. It's just less.
And then it's so I'm gonna put that aside just for a second.
No.
Right?
Well, then why are you just saying
collapsed?
Hold on.
Well, no, you're just saying this isn't true, even though it is.
Oh,
like
my God,
it's scientifically shown that men have more sex drive.
I waited very patiently.
Yeah, you waited very patiently by not responding to any of my arguments or writing anything down.
You didn't say anything to me.
Age of 35.
You didn't say anything to me.
Can we have that conversation
with me? Any which way, right? Please. So I'm going to finish my points. All right.
Mm-hmm. Sponsored by Blue Chew.
Sorry, I wrote down a few things here. One, this idea that men aren't as emotional relationships, right? Like, tell that to women. Tell that to women, and when they're dealing with men who've become crazy attached to them, and women like their whole
women who get stalked
in terms of like managing their safety is managing men's emotions. That's what they actually mean, like trying to feel safe around men, dealing with men with emotional outbursts.
Just because men are more violent, not because they're more emotional.
And now the way that men express that emotion oftentimes is through anger and violence because they feel safe in doing it that way. That's how they feel safe in expressing themselves, right? But that doesn't mean it's any less destructive. It may not be a blubbering mess necessarily, but men are plenty emotional and get plenty attached when we're talking about relationships. It happens all the goddamn time.
That's not dealing with the argument at all, dude.
But also, if you say,
Scott, I'm not talking. I don't even know what the fuck your arguments are.
I know you're ignoring all of my talking points to shit on things, and you're straw manning.
Okay, great.
These aren't arguments.
I just gotta serve meet you because I have no idea what his arguments are. But he just keeps like, why don't you talk about my arguments, right? I don't know what your arguments are. Don't talk about my arguments. Make it about me, please. I'm Scott. It has to be about me. It's been 5 minutes. No one said my name. Oh my God, please refocus onto me, Scott. Anyway, back to it. But yes, the emotionality of men is the danger for women. It is the danger of women that they're always trying to manage, right? Is men's emotions. So I reject this idea that women are just more emotional and more likely to get attached within the context of cheating. When men get attached to their mistresses all the goddamn time, famously so, right? So many books written about like men getting attached to their mistresses. It happens all the goddamn time. But I think you're just kind of stating, well, we can just do this in a very casual manner. It happens. Now there are some monogamous cheaters, right? Like here's the thing. Here's the difference between you and me. I wouldn't make these blanket statements, right? I wouldn't make them blanket statements about either gender, because I think they are so they are so inaccurate, right? They tell you so little that they end up hiding more than they uncover. That men are plenty emotional. Women want sex, right? And want good sex. And oftentimes, and if you're talking about studies, right? You want to talk about studies, well, we can talk about how women, heterosexual women, are far less likely to have orgasms, right? than other types.
That's my point. Right? I orgasm every
until
time.
They meet me.
But that's not. But I know my friend.
So I'm more likely to get the sexual thing out of it as opposed to women.
I know my friend Lacto must be trolling me because that's different from sexual libido.
I'm not trolling. Women can't even orgasm. Why are they cheating?
You don't know, friend.
But if you say like
they're trying to orgasm,
if you say it's
not working,
but they can't, and they know that. So why are they cheating?
We just discovered.
Like what you said earlier, they're more emotional. Like if you're saying like the fact that like men's sex drive is higher makes it more understandable for them to cheat. I don't know why we wouldn't also say.
Guys. We don't want to bury the lead here because what he just said, right, displays because I thought he must be trolling, but he said he's not trolling, right? So this is why it's good to dig into what do people believe here, right? Lactoid You think libido is equal to orgasms. You think this is a sign. That's what you just said. Is that a sign of a woman's lower sexual libido is that they can't even orgasm. That's what you just said.
No. I think that libido and orgasm are different.
But
there is a correlation. Okay, there is a correlation. And I think that in both departments, both represent
women over 35 are horny as fuck.
Hold on real quick. Both represent like a motivation. Both represent a motivation for sex, right? So like if you have a high libido, that can like push you into having sex. And if you have sex every time and you get an orgasm, then you know, there's a reward coming if I go ahead and do it. As opposed to women, which by and large have a lower libido and are less likely to orgasm. So there's like not the immediate physical.
If they're under the, if they're in their 20s, yes,
and they have a lower libido.
If they're in their 20s,
yeah. Let's say it's they want to fuck everything.
I mean, fuck women in their 30s, and you have a great time.
That's just because nobody's giving them attention.
No, it's because their testosterone goes up.
No, dog, it's because they're horny.
Yeah, it's because they're horny as fuck, bro.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
He knows.
It's weird that you're linking these things. You can have a high libido and then never have sex. Right? These things aren't
hold on.
linked in that way.
I mean, I guess.
But you're more likely to have sex if you have a high libido.
You're just going to have to crank more out.
Hold on. Libido is only desire. Hold on.
Yes, and if you have a desire for sex, you're more likely to do it.
Desire doesn't mean capacity, right? Like, you can be fucking in prison. Right? You can be in prison.
Yeah, don't worry. You can be fucking in prison.
Don't do that.
You're right. You're right.
You can be fucking
in prison with a high libido.
Yeah.
I'm saying there's
a correlation. Somebody's fucking in prison. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you can have for any particular situation, for any set of life circumstances, can put you in a position where you can't actually act on it. You have a desire, a high desire, really would love to, right?
It sounds like some keychain right there.
Your position in life, whatever that might be.
But you're more likely to seek it out, and if you're more likely to seek it out, you're more likely to get it.
Hey, these things are unrelated. They're not related. Right?
Wanting sex is not related to getting sex at all.
Wanting sex is not related to being able to get.
Oh, but are you more likely to pursue sex? Are you more likely to pursue sex?
Right, but wanting to get. Hold on. Wait, so okay, skip. Hold on.
No. That is the answer that you're looking for.
Wanting sex and the capacity to have sex are the two necessary elements in order of getting sex.
No.
Hold on. You're skipping a big thing.
Hey, guys, stop interrupting me. Shut the fuck up. Thank you.
You've been talking for 30 minutes. I'm trying to understand your thing here.
I have been waiting the entire time. I've been trying to get to this. I've let you guys go, right? So I'm going to finish my point. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Love you. So no, you're misunderstanding when I say capacity. I'm saying capacity to go out and get sex. That's capacity to have sex. That's a separate thing altogether, right? I'm saying capacity to go out to and successfully convince a partner to have sex with you. Right, that's different from the desire to have sex. You could have a bunch of desire, but for whatever reason, right? Maybe you look unfortunate, right? That
I could never empathize with
that. Hold on,
this is your capacity to be able to.
This doesn't even make sense.
Convince the person to have sex with you. Those are two different things, right?
And no, they're not. They're not two different things.
Orgasm.
Right, but they're not. They're not two different things.
That was a good one.
But they're not two different things. Hold on. This is where you're messing up, right? And this is a big problem. Okay, one, if you desire something, I think we can all agree you're more likely to pursue something. Correct? We all agree that. Okay. Yes.
That's not what I'm asking.
It doesn't matter what you're asking. This is the problem you're having. We're gonna break through why you have a problem. We all agree.
On that one.
Okay. So you're more likely in general if you desire something to pursue it. If you pursue something, you are more likely to learn a skill to acquire that, correct? The more you, just like when you play basketball. If you play basketball and you miss some free throws, and I go and shoot 1,000 free throws, I'm going to eventually get better at shooting free throws than I was when I started at 0. That's a baseline fact. Women are the same way.
You're more likely to make moves.
Hold on. In general, right? Now, if I'm desiring sex and I'm pursuing sex, that means I'm going out there and I'm attempting to get sex on a regular basis. Whether or not I succeed, right there means I'm attempting it more, and just by attempting it, the percentage of sex goes up. That's basic math.
No, it doesn't.
It absolutely does. Prime, it absolutely does. It statistically it does. You're absolutely wrong.
No,
yes, it does, Prime. It 100% does.
No, it doesn't. No,
if you're teaching a pickup course, it definitely does.
It 100% does.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
It's literally that's biological.
Hold on. People. No, it's not. Hold on. people have life circumstances that keep them from having sex.
That's a special occurrence. That's literally a special occurrence. You just described a special occurrence.
All the goddamn time. For all sorts of reasons, also some mundane reasons, people are in positions where they can't have sex.
Like what?
Can't have sex.
Name 3.
Sure,
other than being handicapped.
No problem. Got you. Your profession.
Nope.
Right?
You can
what if
work.
you're in a profession that you can't go and fuck? What if you are in prison, right?
Prison, you can fuck.
And it's all going to be skill issue at the end of the day.
They literally have conjugal visits.
If you have
you literally have conjugal visits. You're wrong. Once again, go ahead.
Not all prisons offer conjugal visits, and not all.
It's still a possibility. I think so. Once again, those are exceptions within an exception. You're talking about exceptions. I'm talking about the rule. An exception doesn't make the rule.
These are very common circumstances, life circumstances people find themselves in, where they can't necessarily do it. What are you talking about, right? Because you have you don't have I don't know, like so it's handicap. We can't use that. I don't know. There's other reasons why people can't have them. Yeah, and also
you said profession. What profession can they not have sex in?
Yeah, sure. When you're a priest,
priests have sex.
If you're not supposed to,
but they do.
But if you want to follow the tenets of your
so then you don't desire the sex and you're not pursuing it.
You're talking. Hold on. I'm saying that people have circumstances that keep them from doing it, right? You're saying, well, you can just ignore all those circumstances, but people have overriding abilities. People aren't
would you say
sexual desires. This may not be true for you, Admiral Gibbs, right? But I'm explaining to you how other people work. So other people
a small percentage is not the rule.
Desires, right? So you can have a high libido, but you can be in a position where you're like, hey, I've made an oath, and so I'm going to follow that oath, right? Despite my desires, right? They're fucking...
but what that's called, you're describing, is something called an exception. That's the exception to the standard rule.
An exception. That's not an exception.
What is an exception then?
Mundane life circumstances.
Being a priest is a mundane life circumstance.
These are very common examples, right? And there are people who are unfortunate looking for whatever reason, and make it extremely difficult for them to do so. So if you can't make that distinction, if you can't understand that, I can't help you, right?
Because it's an exception. You're making the exception. Is what you're saying.
Okay, you can keep saying that, but I'm going to move on. I don't care anymore. Anyway, and also I want to address this idea that cheating is not destructive if you don't get caught. Which multiple people here seem to have said, which like that's crazy, right? Like that's crazy, right? Like that cheating is not destructive at all to a relationship if you don't get caught. So you mean like just because my partner doesn't know I'm doing it, one doesn't mean that a person's behavior doesn't change. I think we can acknowledge that oftentimes happens. And two, that our relationship might be weakening. Like my partner may not know why the relationship is weakening, but it can certainly weaken due to those actions one way or the other. In any case, right? Like I think, well, and other people might disagree with me, and I accept that. That like there is a damage to this pact that is being violated, even if the other person doesn't necessarily realize it. Other people really disagree with me on this one, and I understand that. But like the fact that like, hey, this was, so the person is sharing your life with you, and then you're keeping this big thing from them, right, and making them look like a fool, honestly, right? Like I think that in itself your contract is damaging, but like other people might feel differently about that, and yeah.
You're breaking a contract. Wait, Lactoid. Well, I mean, I don't think Scott feels the same, but Lactoid, it can't be not as bad if a guy does it right. If contracts are supreme, all that, so on and so forth. If you're in a relationship with someone, you made a contract, and you're breaking that contract behind someone's back, just because you don't get caught breaking a contract doesn't mean you're not morally as culpable, right?
Well, hold on. It was Gibbs' opinion that it's not bad if you don't get caught. I think it's bad. I think it's.
You don't think it's as bad though.
I just don't think it's as bad because the life.
Well, I'm saying if at the end of the day, contract is God.
No, it's bad. I'm not right.
No, it's super. You're breaking a contract, which you hate.
Yes, I agree. It is bad. It's bad to break contracts. But when you if there's a harm that's associated with breaking the contract that's more significant or a higher risk of harm, it can make that breaking even worse than it otherwise would be, right?
Wait, why'd you say it was more likely for the woman to get an STD? And the pregnancy thing doesn't really work because I can get more.
It's just statistics. Pregnant. It's literally like it has
statistically, men have more STDs than women.
No, statistically, women are more likely to get an STD on a per sex encounter or per sex basis than men are. Because
so then, like, so then wouldn't it work that like if I'm a guy having sex with a woman and women are more likely to get STDs, that I'm also then vice versa more likely to get STDs? Why? I'm fucking all these women that are getting STDs.
Well,
first of all, I'm not, but like I'm just, for the sake of the argument.
I know, I hear you. If you're having sex with women who have STDs, you're more likely to get an STD. Yeah. And so I think that like if you cheat on your wife with a girl that you know has an STD, this is really bad. If you cheat on your wife with like even unprotected, like that's worse than I think being protected while cheating on your wife, even though both are bad.
So you have to like take a survey to figure out like,
No.
Really how bad each person's cheating is.
No, well, yeah. If you want to like calculate some kind of like exact like badness ratio, I guess you could, but you don't have to do that. You could just say like we generally know that women are more likely to get STDs per sexual encounter because of like physical differences between men and women. And you generally know like this is across the board. This is generally true, and so therefore like unless like all else equal, it is generally worse when women cheat. That doesn't mean that in every case it's worse when women cheat. You can imagine, like, I think a guy who cheats on a girl that he knows has like HIV, this is much worse than cheating. Like if a woman cheats with a guy that doesn't have an STD, right? This is, I think the guy doing it is much worse.
I just want to add, by the way, I just looked up some interesting things since, we're here in the United States. U.S.
Your Bing searches are crazy.
U.S. percentages of people that have been to prison and will go to prison in their lifetime is 5% of the population, and the number of people that are priests is 0.01% in the United States. So we have less than 0.502% of the population. That's an exception, Prime. That is not the norm. The norm is if you go out and you try to do something, the more likely it is that it's going to occur. Like if I go out and I want to buy Coke, it's more likely that if I have the desire and I decide to do it, I'm going to go looking for it, then I will find someone to sell me a thing of Coke. Then if I go home, if I stay home and don't have that
drug addicts more likely to do drugs than non-drug addicts, of course.
It's just hold on. You're confusing my entire point. The capacity to do something. Right, you could say you might be able to slightly increase that capacity, but it doesn't mean that you will necessarily succeed. You're saying you'll increase your chances of doing it, right? That you will practice doing it, and hopefully it'll happen. But that doesn't mean it'll actually fucking happen. In any case, it doesn't matter. These things are different. These things aren't synonymous. So I'm drawing that distinction, and it's
a bad distinction. It's a bad distinction because like we know it's fundamentally not true. Like if I'm more likely to get hit by a car by just leaving the house,
I don't care. I'm not gonna go down like the whole. I did the thing with you. I already had the discussion with you, right? We can move on from there.
I mean, I'm just glad I established that you described the exception. That's what we need to do. 5.02%.
It's not an
exception.
Common life circumstances.
No, it's, for 5%, it's not a common life circumstance.
Ali. Go ahead.
I just want to say that the reason it's worse why women cheat versus men because it's happening to me and they're just women. So like if they're cheating on men and they cheat on me, that's way worse. I just don't like that. I'm very selfish in this regard. And then now, Scott, since you've been muted, I like the mustache. Your Lebanese is coming in. If you just grow it out a little bit more and twirl it more, you'll be full Lebanon. Okay, right from Baalbek. We appreciate it.
There we go. Scott, if you'd like to add something.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to add something after fucking muting me for 20 minutes because I was critiquing how you weren't addressing any actual arguments and getting off topic.
You're trying to mute again,
moderator.
How dare you not address
it? Yeah, he just if you ignore all the arguments, then you don't actually have to address them. So there's a couple of problems. Prime guys, like I'm mostly with you on this latter point because the conversation shifted because you muted me so long because you're a pussy. But I am mostly with you on this latter point, right? That obviously the capacity for women to cheat, regardless of skills, is by and large going to be more than men. That being said, there is, the problem with doing demographic data and looking is that you have to make generalities, right? And so the individual differences vary a lot here, right? Because like if you're talking about like a a wealthy man that's in shape, that's attractive and charismatic, his ability to get pussy is better than any woman's ability to be able to get with a man, period. If you're in like the top 10% of men, like, and it's because of the very thing that Admiral Gibbs was arguing, right? Is because you went out, you practice. Whereas women, they tend to have to wait. Obviously, a woman could like be super raunchy and like go to a bar and like lower their standards and just get a random dude, right? But men that are particularly, you brought up red pill podcast stuff, particularly high value, right? They live in a completely different world than most men. And so that complicates things. But for the most part, I understand what you're saying, right? This idea that it's worse to cheat from a female perspective because it's easier to cheat doesn't necessarily compute along along every male's perspective. And I'm not just saying individual differences may vary in the sense of like they're outliers, but like there's a good 10% of men out there where it's actually way easier for them to cheat than most men, including even the top 10% of women, because those women can often be unapproachable in a way that like because of the dynamic of who approaches whom. Now that being said, earlier in the conversation, what I was critiquing you on was when you were virtue signaling heavy instead of making an argument, and you were talking about this concept of men are emotional and women have to protect themselves by managing men's emotions. This was a complete nonsense thing that never should have been said because it didn't address the arguments that myself and Lactoid and others had put forward in any way, shape, or form, because it has absolutely nothing to do with the basis of when women cheat, they tend to have a more emotional aspect to that cheating, and that they tend to distance themselves from their partner, and that they tend to be looking for an escape from their relationship, and or a backup plan, or they have mentally already severed themselves from the relationship and they're putting themselves on the market to see what their options are. That this is the process that myself and Lactoid were talking about. And then you just went, but aren't men dangerous? Aren't blah, 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 feminist talking points that have absolutely nothing to do with it whatsoever, which I think is an extremely bad faith way to address that conversation. And you should probably apologize for it.
Yeah, secondly, I never apologized to you, but oh, sorry, I didn't think.
No, I thought then the next one. Well, sorry, I was just muted for like 20, 25 minutes.
Sorry,
and you said so much bullshit.
I thought you were
trying to get through it all.
You were done. You can continue,
right?
And I'll handle you afterwards.
I am glad that you didn't do a mea culpa and you tried to like kind of run from it, but you did eventually concede to the idea that all of the science supports the fact that higher testosterone levels in men mean that women do not have as high a libido and sex drive as others, and that's kind of what brought us to this second point that I think is silly. But I would like also to address this counter argument that you and Sociologic brought up, which is may be true, may not. The evidence isn't necessarily clear that like women in their 30s, mid 30s, late 40s, especially, have a higher sex drive.
Speaking, that's 100% true. So I don't even you can continue.
Yeah, that's not how that works, but it is true. It is true that as men's testosterone levels lower, that may be the future, right? That is I could very well potentially see that being the future with Gen Z.
No, it was like
because sea levels are going
10 years, 1,000%.
Wow. No, I know what your argument was. I was giving the devil his due in the sense that may be true in the future, and that gap is narrowing in that domain. But most of the research that we have shows that even in the peak of their sex drive, they still tend to have lower libido than men in the same age category. I don't think it's super relevant to the morality of cheating per se, but it is just false that science proves that we're wrong when the science actually supports that opinion. And you were just saying, no, you're wrong, as a dismissal instead of dealing with that argument and its implications.
So I didn't say anything about testosterone. I don't know anything about that last argument. So I'm gonna. But back to
that's the mechanism that most highly correlates with libido and sex drive.
Sure, but you're saying that like I gave away some points based on testosterone. I didn't say anything about that. But
that's not what
in
I
any
said.
case, Okay, so the thing that I wanted to address was the other point about like the danger, right? The point of me bringing that up wasn't to discuss how men are dangerous. The point of bringing that up was to say that men are emotional. Men indeed are emotional in these situations. We don't
which isn't a counter.
Hold on, let me finish. I waited for you to finish, right? So the point was that men are indeed emotional. What Lackwood was saying previously, and maybe you said it as well, but again, I didn't pay attention to what you were saying previously, so I don't know what you said. But if this was your point, then I'll address it as well. That men are less emotional than women, right? Is that incorrect, Electrode? Was that what you said previously? Men are less emotional than women?
Yeah, on average, they tend to be less emotional, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm
less
saying
neurotic,
that,
especially.
Okay, well,
but that's not dealing with the mechanism of the argument.
I don't know. Hold on. To be clear, I didn't say anything about neuroticism, and I have no idea there, so I'm just going to leave that part alone.
I have
the only emotion in lactoid word is negative emotion, and so if you score less on neuroticism, must mean that you have less emotions. Yeah, that totally logically follows.
Yeah. Men. So my point was to show that men are indeed emotional. We as a society process that differently, right? But these are just as destructive. We're talking about like emotions relating to relationship, right? In terms of like a needlessly attachment, right? Or obsessive attachment, or just like falling in love, or jealousy. Jealousy, I guess, is what I'm looking for. I'm sure there's a few others, right? But like these emotions, these negative emotions, when dealing with relationships, men feel all those things too. All those things happen, but they don't express the same way. And we're told that men are just simply less emotional. They are emotional. They simply express that in a different way, and oftentimes a dangerous way. That was the point. Not that my point.
But it doesn't deal with the mechanism of the argument.
What is the mechanism?
Right. The argument is when discussing cheating and why women cheat, or how the cheating tends to be different compared to men and women, right? Is that it is more likely that men are capable of compartmentalizing the sexual relationship as just sex, and that women are more likely to form emotional attachments to the people that they're having sex with, and that they're more likely to have already checked out of the relationship. They're more likely to be looking for a backup or looking for an escape from the relationship, and that the relationship is falling apart in that domain. And this is part of the destructive aspect of cheating in that domain. So what your argument is kind of like, it's kind of like me saying, like, I think it's bad that car insurance rates are higher for men because they get in car accidents while speeding, and then you are saying, why are you saying that women don't get into car accidents? And it's like, I'm not. There's a mechanism and a specific thing we're talking about, and then you're just taking an aspect of that and then making points about that aspect that doesn't pertain to the argument.
So I don't understand how I didn't directly address that mechanism. So you're saying that men are better at compartmentalizing. I'm saying that, right, that like there is an idea that men some sort of mastery of their emotions that women don't have, right? And an aspect of that, as you pointed out,
that's not the argument.
I'm sorry, I like you keep saying that, but like I'm like using the words, right? Like so,
you're using the words to say something entirely different, irrelevant thing.
Did you not just say that men have a greater ability to compartmentalize when cheating, right? Compartmentalize.
I wouldn't call it ability per se, but yes, they're more likely to do so. Yes,
they're more likely to do so. So you're saying they're more likely to do so.
They're more likely to seek
to do so.
They're more likely to seek sex for sex sake, as opposed to gain an emotional or romantic relationship or test the market outside of the relationship, whereas women are more likely to seek because their man is like not doing the things they used to do, or that they feel some void, or for whatever reason, to seek an emotional attachment to bond with another person, which becomes more destructive towards the relationship itself, because they're seeking a new partner or new options. They're running from the relationship. They're killing the relationship.
A separate argument, right? So like I got to get you guys down because Yes. So let me handle one
That's
thing.
That's the problem.
So no, but you were okay. Whatever. Sorry. You're saying compartmentalize. Compartmentalize, and maybe we have to get on page here. What does compartmentalize mean? It means like you're going to engage in an activity, right? But then you can mentally separate that rather than getting emotionally attached or things or bringing that into other parts of your life, right? You can separate this, you can isolate this. And this takes a certain mastery of emotions to do so. You can and then you can
is it mastery of emotions, or is it just a tendency because of what it is that you are seeking? I'm not necessarily saying men have this skill to go and to compartmentalize in a way that women just never could. Though that may be true, that's not the argument that I'm making. The argument that I'm making is that when men are cheating, more often than not, they're just looking for sex. They're just looking for a wild night out and then to go back to the relationship. When women are cheating, they're very often looking for someone to give them a romantic relationship and to fill their emotional needs in a way that their spouse isn't. And that men don't tend to cheat in that same way. And because of this, that is more likely to destroy the relationship. Right. And the reason that's more likely to destroy the relationship is because the woman is seeking separation. She's seeking a different partner. She's seeking to get out of the relationship. The man is not seeking to leave the relationship. He's not seeking to get a different partner to be in a relationship with. He's seeking a nut and then to go back. And I'm not saying it's moral. I'm not saying it's good. I'm talking about purely from the likelihood of it to destroy the relationship. One is in and of itself an attempt to destroy the relationship, and the other is an attempt to potentially keep a secret and go get something that you feel that you're missing. And these are wildly different in terms of destroying a relationship.
I know you're not trying to moralize this, but what Lactoid said specifically, and this is why I wanted to do one at a time with these things. Lactoid specifically, which is what the thing I wrote down and what I was responding to, is that guys are less emotional. You said that, correct?
Yeah. It's a throwaway line away from the argument, right? Lactoid, or am I misunderstanding?
It's not. Okay.
So can I say something? So two things.
Sure.
Well, I guess three things. First of all, can you guys hear like a hum in the background on my end? Is it like particularly
very slightly of a hint of it, but not?
I heard like something like a TV on in another room or something.
It's okay. I'm boiling my feet right now. The second thing I wanted to bring up. I'm just like this is like factually correct based on all my intuitive knowledge, which is always right unless disproven. And I just quickly found a couple sources, links to some studies that I posted in the group chat. I mean,
a study or a Forbes article is a study? A
Forbes article links to a study. It says a study published in Psychology.
I want to clarify. Are you posting studies or are you posting articles that link to studies?
I'm posting an article of Forbes, which, by the way, is a pretty well-known magazine.
Forbes. But that's not a study. That is not a study.
Okay, if the Forbes article has a study linked in it, and that study, according to the Forbes article, states that while men cheat primarily for sexual reasons, one of the key reasons why women cheat has to do with filling an emotional void. Another study linked from WebMD, which again was also a study within WebMD, specifically states that men are more likely to cite sexual motivations for infidelity and are less likely to fall in love with an extramarital partner. Women tend to have an emotional connection with their lover and are more likely to have an affair because of loneliness, as opposed to just, like Scott said, just trying to get a nut. This is like, again, have you ever met a woman and a man?
Phenomenon in psychology and sexology.
I am not disputing the motivations or the primary. I agree on those. That all tracks with what I know as well. But the conclusion that you draw of therefore women are more emotional, that just does not logically follow. That is not borne out. Anything that you post there, anything that you said there, does not back up that argument. I'll
find data on that too. That like women.
The entire women are more emotional seems like a complete aside to try and avoid the argument that is being put forward.
Okay,
it's also just women cheat,
why men cheat, and what is more destructive to the relationship.
If Lactoid is willing to concede that he doesn't matter about that point, and he actually has it's no bearing to anything that he says, then he should concede that. But I'm not disputing all the primary motivations, but I will dispute that claim. Absolutely.
Exactly. That's the claim that I'm disputing. I'm disputing that guys are less emotional. and 4 because he added that to the argument. Now, if he's saying that doesn't matter and he is maybe he spoke incorrectly, well, then I can withdraw my point.
Then he has to apologize.
And he has to apologize. But that is the point.
He doesn't have to apologize for your fucking trying to run from the argument by picking apart one thing that you think you can prove.
Stop trying to say that and knock that shit off. So, but anyway, back to Lactoid.
Why? It's true.
Knock it off, dude. Lactoid. Like, do you?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna meet you. All right, so get handle this.
All
Shut the fuck up. All right, thank you. Shut the
Don't worry, Scott's a man. He's not emotional.
He's not emotional about it. He won't get upset. Don't worry, right? He'll deal with cold logic. He'll realize that like this is what happens when he doesn't fuck up when I ask him to. But anyway, off he goes. No emotion. No emotion, everyone. He's not emotional. No emotions displayed. Anyway,
he just took out his abacus and did the calculation. Oh, time to go.
Did the calculation. But anyway, Lactoid. So, was that a crucial part of the argument, or was that a throw?
It wasn't. I mean, it's true, but it's not a crucial part of my argument at all.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll leave it alone. Then. All right. So let's get started.
And Grok agrees with me.
Or that's terrifying.
Yeah, what happened to you?
It like froze. I don't know if you guys see the same screen I'm seeing.
No, we do.
Yeah. I mean,
what up, Non-Fun? How's your night going, man? You've been enjoying the conversation. Have you learned
Corey,
from your older streamer friends?
Listen, I don't talk to women,
if you will.
So I don't talk about women. Okay, you know that's my rule. Okay, I don't know. I feel like I've maybe learned a little bit.
You should wear that crawfish outfit out. I think that's the Rizmaster.
Sorry, Corey, you there?
The shrimp outfit, yeah. That crawdad will get you laid.
Okay.
Scott got Corey good.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
On fun. I got the best tips for getting women. Have you ever heard of negging as a concept?
No. Please, not fun. You're doing great. Don't talk to women, and they will. You're doing great.
Well, you kind of got to talk to them,
or you can neg them. Yeah,
not really, man.
I personally think
I agree. Negging's not the best. Okay, but like you do kind of
gaslighting much better. You just like lie straight to
really.
Their face.
You just all like they'll come up and say hi, and you just like walk right past them. Like that works.
It's not even walk right past them. This has really been my vibe. The less you try to sleep with girls, the more they try to sleep with you.
Well, that's true.
Talk to women.
You still talk with them.
I agree with that.
Non-Fun knows how to talk. Listen, Non-Fun. I've seen Non-Fun's posted pictures. He has ladies. He has ladies around him. Both sides.
A lot of lady friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Lady friends, bro.
And eventually, man, it'll work out. You'll make some money.
Money.
Bro.
Yeah, money. These women are gonna be getting them his money, bro. Gator always gets his money, bro.
Actually, we should ask Corey if he thinks his power is coming back.
His power went out.
Yeah. Because if he's not coming back, then we should just get started.
Well, he said BRB in the group chat.
Okay. All right. So why don't we just get started any which way then? He'll catch. Hopefully people can hear me. Because my audio has been in and out again. I'm gonna just have to reformat my computer. Hopefully that does it. I don't know what's going on. It's really, really unfortunate. Any case, sub to the channel, give bits and give subs in case you haven't done so already. We could really use your assistance. Okay, on to the topic at hand. Test. Can people hear me now? Oh, you heard Prime for one line there. Okay. All right. So check. It just sucks. My audio. Hold on. Let me do it this way. Let me try to add.
Is there just like no explanation for it? It's just not working.
You guys can hear me.
Yeah.
And just my stream, it just cuts in and out. So Frozen Knight says they can hear me now. All right. So we are going to get started with the topic. All right. So Corey says don't wait for him. So we'll just get started while we wait. All right. So topic for tonight. Texas has become the 7th state to ban lab-grown meat. This is part of a nationwide effort centered on red states to suppress this new product. According to its supporters, lab-grown meat has the potential to revolutionize the agricultural business with the adoption of a sustainable, cruelty-free alternative. Its detractors claim that it's unsafe and a threat to a critical portion of the American economy. Do you support the ban? Should government be stepping in to stifle this market before it even begins? Do you think lab-grown meat is safe? Should it even matter if it is or isn't when concerning a ban? And shout out to my man Ali for sending me this article. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Texas banning lab-grown meat, and it is like there's not much of it that exists out there, right? It's not like we've established some level of danger. Maybe other people will disagree with this, but we haven't established some sort of danger, and then now this is state regulators responding to that. This is a sub industry that's just trying to get its legs under itself. But bans are coming down, and they're coming down hard. Now, I might actually agree overall with bans if it's unsafe, right? If it's indeed unsafe, then that's the case. But like it doesn't. I don't know if that's actually necessarily being demonstrated, and I'm not sure it's being demonstrated for the lawmakers. I think they might be responding to other reasons, other concerns when banning these, and maybe those are valid concerns. So yeah, I just wanted to explore this whole idea with lab-grown meat. So sort of lactoid work way around.
My position is pretty straightforward. I think the banning of lab-grown meat is really bad. You should be allowed to have it. It's free market, baby. Like classic example of free market. You're telling me that I can't grow meat in my basement because some fucking rancher wants to have a cow? Look, you can have your cow. I can have my lab-grown meat. Sorry.
Okay. Non-fon, excuse me.
Look, I've always said, okay, your real enemy. It's not the billionaires, it's the fucking farmers, bro. Okay, they say billionaires don't pay taxes. Guess who has the highest non-compliance rate with taxes, okay? It's the fucking farmers. Everyone complains about all the subsidies Elon Musk gets. Okay, you know who gets more? The fucking farmers, dude, okay? Like, in all seriousness, I've not seen any evidence that lab-grown meat is harmful. It's, like, chemically identical to real meat, so there's not good reason to believe that it would necessarily be harmful. But we know that animal agriculture is just like really harmful, at the very least for the animals that are involved in it. And I don't think, you don't got to go full non-fawn vegan shrimp welfare project to recognize that factory farming caused a lot of suffering, and lab-grown meat offers, is somewhat of an off-road from that. And I do want to say, over on my stream, okay, we are doing a fundraiser, okay, whenever we talk about animal welfare stuff, I like to fundraise. So we're doing a fundraiser for FarmKind. They're a good charity that tries to reduce the amount of suffering in factory farms. Already raised $60 so far, so hell yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
If we raise 20 more, I'll put the shrimp costume on. There's an incentive.
Well, there you go. Admiral Gibbs.
Oh yeah, great segue there with the shrimp welfare guy. I'm debating the shrimp welfare guy, one of the founder people, I think on Saturday is what I was told. So yeah, that'll be fun. Good, thank you for that nice tee up to me there. But yeah, this shit's evil. This is the left. Once again, Lactoid, don't be bamboozled. I know you want it to be the free market. This is that baby back bullshit that Alex Jones was talking about. They want to sell us some soulless gobbledygook and tell you it's good for you. Bro, it's got rates traced to higher cancer. It gets infected all the time. People go, why can't we do it like we do with yeast in these bioreactors? Doesn't work that way, fam. These are fucking proteins and beef. It's like the meat it sells. It's not the same as yeast. It's bad. It's all bad. And secondly, listen, y'all, the vegans, it is sad when you kill a soul animal. But guess what? I want my meat to have a soul. Like, I want the soul in there. I know it's of the earth. I know it's good. I don't know. What happens when the government comes and they decide, oh, well, we're going to ban all the farmers. We're going to ban all the ranchers. We're going to only let you eat this lab-grown corpse starch. Oh, that's going to be good for you, bro. And, suddenly, now you're eating this bullshit and you're dying. That's the future. You want to be eating the bugs and the fucking corpse starch. I hope you're ready for that future. And finally, the people that have talked so far, they've said the farmers. Guess what? The farmers don't grow meat, fam. That's the ranchers. The ranchers grow the meat. There's no fucking farms that are growing these. It's a misnomer. It's bad. You just can't trust them if they're using that as an ag term. Can't trust them. They don't know what they're talking about.
Okay. Ali.
For once, Gibbsy, I agree with every fucking thing you just said. I'm not eating your fucking government science-grown meat slop. Go fuck yourselves. This is America, right? I want my cattle. I want you to raise the cattle. Okay, I'm all. Listen, don't ban it. I don't care if you actually want to grow it. But the issue is the way this fucking government works is they go, hey, we're just gonna try to implement. Well, actually, thank God our government's banning this shit. Maybe the Republican states have some things right. But the way it works is when they introduce this shit, they go, hey, we're just going to introduce it. And then somehow it becomes implemented. And then then the fucking vegans, we're letting the vegans win. And then they get on their moral fucking high ground. And then they start infiltrating the government like the terrorists they fucking are. And they start going, hey, listen, it's bad that you're eating regular meat. You should at least supplement half of your diet with fucking lab-grown meat. Then it gets implemented in the schools, right? Right, Lactoid? It starts with the schools, with the kids. They start teaching the kids this fucking bullshit. That you can grow your meat at home. The big bad government wants to stop you from growing. Listen, fuck this shit. Let's get into the topic. But all I'm saying is no. Fucking no. If you want good meat, just get halal and call it a fucking day. Sharia solves all of this. I keep telling you guys.
So I thought at first that Gibbs was making the case against real meat. Talking about linked to higher cancer rates and deleterious health effects.
The things highly processed foods aren't linked to cancer.
That's what they say about real meat.
That's what they say about processed foods too.
The synthetic shit's worse.
Well, but look, so lab grown meat is literally identical to real meat.
It's not identical.
It's not identical at all.
It's not identical. It's not identical at all.
They literally take
did they grow it?
That's not true at all. You have to get these meta sheets, pharmaceutical grade.
Did the cow get raised?
This is a fake thing that he's doing.
And do a whole.
No, the cow did not get tortured its whole life. That was true, but they literally
being alive is torture.
No, here's what's crazy.
Cows are actually the lucky ones when it comes to animal agriculture. But
wait, to be fair,
what?
Non-fun's end goal is to eliminate animals, become robo-humans, and turn the entire earth.
Hold on, non-fun. Do you have a problem with factory ranches? You have a problem with factory ranches?
I accept that. I accept that I have I have controversial beliefs about being vegan and our moral obligation not to eat meat. Okay, but to say I think it's a much more modest premise to just simply say. It's just a good thing to at least sometimes supplement. But
it's not a good thing.
Real meat with lab.
It's not a good thing. Hold on.
You can just
let me give you the two. Let me give you the two biggest pros for this. Right. The two biggest pros for this are one, it's greenhouse efficiency, right? And two, it's idea that it's going to save the animals, right? Or we're going to at least give an alternative. That's an argument, right? Okay, and maybe space exploration. I'll maybe give it a pass for space exploration. But the fact of the matter is. When you have to make this at this cultured meat, you have to use higher grade tech. It's pharmaceutical grade right now. So it's actually not classified as a food product. It's classified as a pharmaceutical product. All right. That's why it's so expensive. That's why right now the process they use is not greenhouse efficient. So one, that takes out its biggest pro, which is the greenhouse. And two, you're arguing that, we're going to do this to save the animals. Well, you know what? Fuck that. I don't know what you're saying. What's so bad with these animals? You bitch with the cattle, grass-fed cattle have it good, and then they go in there and they're in fucking slaughterhouse for 2 seconds. They're dead. They don't even know what happened to them. What do you think is happening? I mean, what do you think? Yeah, but even then, what do you think happens at a ranch, like a grass-fed ranch, which is now becoming the predominant thing. Now,
the majority, within a rounding error, all of the meat supplied in America is from factory farms. It's not. It's not happy animals.
Yeah, but what are the factory farms?
Or whatever. What are the factory? So for cows, my understanding is a lot of times, cows will be artificially inseminated. Usually they live in pens that are very cramped. They're not cleaned well at all. A lot of times they'll castrate
That's
cows.
Some factory farms.
Cows, dairy cows, are separated from their young. There's a whole bunch of things that the average person kind of finds heinously immoral.
Yeah, but they also classify commercial ranches as factory farms that are just giant grass-fed ones as well. A giant grass-fed ranch being a factory farm is a totally different experience and might have more herd on it than say what you're arguing with those other ones.
Sure, are you trying to ban? The real question here is: are people like you and your irk? Are you people going to try to ban?
Yeah, it's a start.
Well, so
then they're going to put stuff in the meat. They're going to put stuff in the meat next.
What I would do in my ideal society, right, Lactoid,
Go ahead.
Just based on a lot of really controversial.
You could lose me. You could lose me.
The vaccines are going in the meat next. Why not spend the cultured meat?
True, based. Well, I would separate out what I would do as an evil. vegan utilitarian, right? In my like perfectly ideal society, 200 years from now, when we're all
you're like the socialist,
move past the need for
give a little bit
meat or whatever. But I think you only have to accept a much more modest premise that like animal suffering has above zero value, and that lab grown meat, at least if it's viable, which is, I mean, presumably the reason people in the market are funding it is because they believe it will at least be viable someday. That to the extent that happens, that will reduce like animal suffering in factory farms.
Yeah, but animal suffering,
I think that's all you have to accept.
Animal suffering devalues the meat. You realize that, right? Like it actually makes the meat worse the more the meat suffers. Like you understand that, right? Like there's
I don't think there's evidence of that.
Yeah, well, regardless,
there's a lot of
Gibbs. I don't think non-fawn. Here's my take. I don't know if non-fawn and his people are going to come try to ban it, then that's like a big deal, and I would oppose that for sure.
That's the end goal, man.
And then
I'm a hunter, right? There is a special connection with eating the food that you personally kill, for sure, and I think there's something to that that's important. I think that what's going to happen though is my prediction is that we're gonna, all these bans are going to wear off, and then lab grown meat is going to become like continue to develop, and they're going to get so fucking good at it that they're going to make it for like dirt cheap compared to like regular like cow meat. And it's just going to outcompete the regular cow meat in the market. That's what I think is going to happen. And then the market, like it's going to be a specialty luxury to be able to find like actual natural cow meat, and it's like not even going to be really any better than the lab grown meat. That's what I think is probably going to be the case.
Oh, this is the craziest bullshit I've ever heard.
Yeah, this is where they start injecting whatever the fuck they want into the meat because it's some fucking random lab.
I want you to explain it.
Hold on.
Listen, I'm sorry. Listen, I joke around when I say Sharia will solve all this, but like when I fucking go buy meat, I know where the farm it comes from. I can go buy a cow specifically, have it cut up for me. Like you just have to get to know your fucking local farmers and your local ranchers and all that shit. It's not fucking hard.
They still
just put a little investment into yourselves.
No, you don't. You don't have to do that. Like, yeah, I mean, like, what are you going to put in?
Gibbs, do you vaccinate your cows?
I do whatever is officially required by the state of Texas.
Okay, well then and that includes a whole bunch of chemicals being.
Listen, yeah, but I don't. Right. I do the barest minimum that is required.
Sure. And so is the barest minimum really all that much less?
I'm sorry.
It's quite a bit less.
Do you think that the lab grown meat is just like the fully processed synthetic shit is any better in terms of like what they use to like make it and how they make it? And like,
I think it's possible. I think it's possible to be better because my understanding is that, like for example, a lot of illnesses that you get from eating meat has to do with contamination during the slaughtering process or throughout the life of the cow, right? So parasites, for example, like tapeworms. Tapeworms come with like the pork tapeworm, for example. If we get so like that comes from what the pig eats. The pig eats some kind of larva. Okay, you're the Muslim. I get it, right? But we're Americans. We like we love pork. I love
tapeworm.
Well, okay, we're obviously trying to avoid the tapeworm. Okay.
Well, actually, but you understand
if all the pork is lab grown. It's not going to be.
Well, okay, so here's your problem. Here's your problem.
Wait, real quick. A McDonald's burger.
But that's a good thing.
Isn't there a whole thing where a McDonald's burger doesn't fucking deteriorate for like 80 years or some bullshit like that? Like that's presumably all synthetic bullshit.
I thought that was a Twinkie. I thought that was a
no. There is one.
People have done it.
They put a Big Mac.
It's just the sodium. It's just the sodium that's keeping it. Anyway, listen.
Well, yeah, you can do that with lab grown meat too. They want.
But hold on. Do you understand how meat gets its flavor?
I still eat it.
How does meat get its flavor?
From the heme.
So the meat is partially flavored by the food that the animal eats.
And
why deer,
and what
depending
else?
on its diet,
blood,
how much exercise it gets,
like the life experiences, right?
Yeah, like exercise and diet mostly.
You being alive.
Okay, so like it gets it from exercise. It gets attacked. We just fear into it. Yeah. Chemicals over time, right? Okay. So
surely, yeah.
Sure. Okay. So, like, why is veal, prized as a thing? Even though I'd agree veal is somewhat inhumane. Why is it prized, though? Do you understand why? Because the flavor, right? They hand feed it a certain amount.
More rare.
Well, no.
Or like Wagyu.
Yeah, so it's veal is one, they hand feed it. Two, it's not allowed to move. Three, it's the age of the calf. So it's tender, young, all this thing. It has a certain flavor, right? Sure. Here's the thing. You're not going to be able to recreate that in a lab.
Why not? Why not?
Why would you be able to do? How are you going to feed?
Yes,
okay, How am I going to feed it?
Couldn't you actually have more control?
No, how are you going to feed an Idaho fed like grass or something? Or, we're going to give him salt grass, and you're going to feed this right into this protein.
You would have a substrate.
We're going to release these proteins
to
recreate this life experience. This is insanity.
No. What you would do, you would have a substrate, and you probably have much more control actually as to like what kind of flavor meat you're trying to do, because you could change, like you could have a whole collection of different substrates that you'd be growing the meat on, and then like the nutrients that the cells are absorbing is going to be different depending on what substrate you use. You can make like grape flavored meat. I don't know. That might be pretty wacky. You could do all sorts of cool shit. And on top of that,
like, good? Does that sound good for you?
Yeah. That sounds pretty gross.
You can just season the meat that you're eating
probably
now.
a bad example.
This is why this is how Starbucks got ammonia in their pumpkin spice lattes.
They make bacon jam and jelly that you can add right to your fucking steak, and it's like you can use a grape jelly if you want with a little bit of bacon and add it right to your steak. You can make grape and bacon jelly. Season your steak.
That's different than like having the meat actually be a different flavor.
Bro, like you're telling me you want to like
you're arguing for more government control. You really are arguing for socialism.
No. Vapes replace tobacco. Lab grown meat's going to replace the cows. It's just, I'm sorry, it's inevitable.
Yeah, and so the ultimate goal is to like replace, and you're okay with that. Let's replace it with the science. So I'm
only okay with it if it's market driven. If the lab grown meat gets so like, I think it's going to start out like a luxury product.
But it's already not market driven.
And then over time, it's going to get super cheap.
But before you do, we got to let some other people in. We're going to let Corey in and then non-fun. Oh, and testing. Let me know.
Then I want to get back in on this market bullshit.
I do as well. Because who's pushing it,
guys? Then as soon as these two are done, you guys can jump back in. And to the audience members, I made a change. Hopefully, it to be a positive change. Someone's recommended in the comments, so. Let me know if my sound is good for now, but we'll keep an eye on it. All right, go ahead, Corey.
So to address the opposing, I've still been listening, thankfully, and I'm on non-fawn side, and this time I'm allied with Lactoid, although I'm not coming from a market perspective, but an animal welfare perspective. But regardless, to engage with Ali. So in the past, you like to measure the economy through chips. Okay, potato chips, right? Okay, now I'm assuming that's because you like potato chips.
It's just because I think that's the easiest price point, like you can show.
Sure. But I think would you disagree with me that people like potato chips and those types of food products?
No, we don't.
And the point that I'm making is we have a whole issue now of like ultra processed foods. Okay, and people consuming ultra processed foods. Why do people consume them? Well, one, they're cheap. Two, they just tend to taste really good, and they're addictive to eat to a certain extent. Meat, lab-grown meat, is going to be the example of like the most ultra-processed food that's going to be engineered to your taste buds to exactly how you want.
It's not good.
Exactly. If it's cheaper, if it has a longer shelf life, if it reduces animal suffering, how is it not better? There is no reason. There is no reason to address Gibbs that would. Whatever it is that you want to tweak, whether it's muscle development, whether it's fat content, whether it's whatever it is, you can tweak that in a lab. Just as we are going to get to a point to growing an organ in a lab, like the liver, you can grow muscle, you can grow tissue. We're going to get to that point. And so anything that Gibbs says is just, we're going to be able to do that in the lab.
No, there's absolutely no way you can do that in a lab. There's no way.
Hold on. If non-fun wants to get him.
I just want you guys are both like mentioning reasons like you personally like would not want to eat lab grown meat or whatever, and I can semi kind of understand like some of that skepticism or whatever. But the whole reason people are investing in it is because they expect, even if some people don't want it now, there's going to be a lot of people in the future that do want it.
No,
and, that seems to be. You don't think that's the expectation? Why would they be investing in it if they don't? So this
is why. So here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. This is the actual way I see it. So I understand that there are studies, and this proves this. The actual fact of the matter is, people are going to get too broke to afford actual meat. So they're coming in and they're substituting the actual meat with fucking lab-grown meat. When the issue isn't that, the issue is that people can't afford regular meat, and that's the actual problem, right? Shit's too expensive. So in a world,
It's a plan. It's
either the price of shit is too inflated, and that's the actual problem. We need to fucking address the price of shit and the way the market actually. The way the market actually goes. Or
I want to piggyback off this.
Wait.
Food is getting cheaper over time.
I'm pro. Listen, personally, I am pro more like of a natural like life. I don't want to get so far away that we're literally just eating little nutrient pills to like have that. I don't think that's existence. I think a synthetic.
I want to take it a step further.
I think the issue is like the normal person isn't able to is in the future they're planning for the normal person to not be able to afford meat, and normal meat be a luxury item, which is not a good system to plan for.
I want to piggyback off this. Actually, I think it's bigger than that. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist. I don't know. But I actually think this is a concerted effort by people on the left. Because, one, maybe my radar's gone off. Since in the last 3 weeks, I've seen, beef prices going up, and simultaneously I've seen this lab-grown meat thing suddenly start going, because people are starting to point to the ag industry growing here, and now, suddenly lab-grown meat is going to be an alternative. One, I don't like the idea of, let's get rid of our ability to produce natural meat and here as an agricultural industry here in the United States. Like, if an enemy comes in, that's a national security risk if they take out our food, right? That's just one way. Two, I don't like the government being able to come in, we're going to nationalize all the lab-grown meat industry, and now all of a sudden, we're going to put whatever we want in here, and that's one more way to control people. That's bad. Three, I don't think it's a bad thing to want us to get away from processed foods. Corey just made the point, all these processed foods are great. That's a fucking terrible thing. There's a reason why when we go, hold on.
I don't know that you use the word great. I don't know that you use the word great.
Hold on.
Taste and price.
Sure, but I'm saying I think it's a bad thing whenever I go, people go, the pumpkin spice latte, we found it doesn't have any pumpkin in there. Actually, it does have ammonia in there. That can't be good for humans. We wonder why cancer rates are soaring, and I think it's directly attributed to a lot of this fucking processed food bullshit. I think a lot of people
all
think
the chemicals and bullshit that they put in our food
and
the idea don't need.
And other countries are saying the same thing. When you go overseas and eat, you lose weight eating the same shit because they don't have all this other additive bullshit. It's just common sense now at this point. We know it, you know it, I know it, right? And then you'll talk about, these things are going to become a luxury item. Guess what? I probably would personally benefit from being a luxury item with this beef thing. I have a big enough ranch that I think we'd be insulated, and we have a high enough grade product that I'd probably be fine. I'd probably be able to charge bukus more and buy more land even, because other ranchers will go out of business. But it's not that. It's that this is a bad thing overall in the long term to go, hey, we're going to start pushing processed foods. And Corey even 100%. Said it himself, this is the most processed food we can get. And it's not even that. It doesn't even take care of the greenhouse factors that people keep bringing up. Y'all haven't brought this up, and so I know I'm fighting ghosts in this panel, but the biggest argument I hear from people outside of the humanity issue is the greenhouse stuff. Guess what? Right now, you can't produce it. Maybe in the future you can build some tech, but you cannot do this in the same way that the bioreactors work.
What are we going to do with all the cows and chickens?
It's just like crazy. And finally, y'all talk about animal humanity. The only reason cattle exist in the capacity it lists today is because they are a food source. They would probably be extinct if humans weren't farming and raising them. You're welcome, cows. Thank you for your existence.
So it's obviously not good to bring something into existence if you're just going to torture it. No one has the intuition that it'd be good to bring a baby into existence for 10 minutes just to torture it and then die, right? So that's obviously like not a good thing. But I think that most cows are tortured and then killed for.
How are they tortured?
It's the animal kingdom, man. Animals are food source for animals. Like that just is what it is.
Here's a stream. Why don't you come to my ranch and you tell me at what point the cow is getting tortured?
Like 10 different points. Like, oh my god. So I don't know where you guys are getting like this government like conspiracy stuff from. So
governments have never done this before.
Research grants that the government has given to like some lab-grown meat things, right? But like it seems like the war for the government is on the other side right now. They're trying to ban lab-grown meat, right? The federal government, there's been states trying to get rid of certain like requirements for like some type of basic minimum animal welfare in factory farms, right? So it's like the tide seems to be against the evil vegan leftist tide right now. I don't know why we'd be concerned about like the government nationalizing lab-grown meat, but not about the government like nationalizing whatever farms we have currently. It doesn't seem like that's any bigger of a national security issue. That seems totally insane to me. And again, if
do you know how big a farm is? How big is a ranch? The average ranch, like even if it's like 5 acres, how big do you think that is? Like realistically, it's pretty big, right?
Big?
You would need like drones, maybe like a squad of people, like to come in and like nationalize a single ranch.
You just pass the.
Okay, and they say they're not going to give it up. They're not going to give it up. Okay, this homestead's not going to give it up to the national government. So they're gonna have to come in with guns. It's gonna take a SWAT team, right? At least, right?
Do you think okay? So in order to take over like a farm or whatever, you don't need to have troops on every like square acre.
Sure, but but you would arguably
find the person who owns a farm and then like arrest
them. So you're physically gonna have to send people to take out all these individual farm owners, correct? All right, you understand that, right? Yes. Now, as opposed to we have one giant corporation that's making it all in one location, which is going to be harder to take over.
I don't know why we would assume it's one giant corporation.
Oh, it's going to be several corporations. It's going to be much more centralized, correct? Well, okay, I will explain. I will explain this because he's arguing it will be harder to nationalize. Who's going to produce it? It's going to be major corporations, and if they're going to nationalize the food industry, it's going to be much easier to take over like 5, 10, 15 organizations than it is to take over 3,000 fucking mom and pop stores. Yeah, that's crazy that you can't see this.
I agree. It's probably going to be big companies the same way a lot of farming now.
Yeah, I don't want them to be in control of another fucking source and monopolize another fucking item.
I don't think it's going to be significantly more centralized than like farming is currently, right? Like I'm sure if we looked up the market concentration in like farming,
2 or 3 chicken producers in the entire United States, is like 90%.
Right. Yeah. So I don't think it'd be like significantly more than we have now, and I don't think that's like I don't think that's necessarily a problem.
Local farms, I want to surrounding farms. That's an interesting idea, right? So. Corey, and to Lactoid, right? I don't know what Lactoid's eating here. Is having a good time.
Something processed, ultra processed.
Something ultra processed,
ultra processed, 100%.
Like a real fucking American.
But there's 700,000 cattle ranches in the U.S. That's a ton of ranches.
It's chemically identical to real meat. You can call it processed, but the end result is chemically identical.
27% of the land in the United States is covered by ranches. I like the idea that they can just move in and take this individually is totally outrageous compared to like a few corporations.
I want to get more people to answer your previous question, right? So to Lactoid and to Corey. I think what, and maybe you guys can disagree, but I think what Ali and Gibbs said is at least reasonable to say that if not only we allow lab grown, but also there's a massive market shift and it becomes the dominant player, right? That we'd be centralizing our food supply, like radically so. Centralizing our food supply because they're not going to be mom and pop like lab grown meat, right? Like this is like a gigantic corporation. The only they could bring the resources to bear to actually make this happen. So, are you okay with that being a possibility? Of course, this relies on lab grown meat taking over the market. But if that scenario were to pass, would you think that it would leave the U.S. in a better position after that consolidation?
Well, I would say so. There's multiple things there. I would sort of reject the notion, from what I understand now in terms of the current food climate in the United States and North America, is like pretty much like the vast majority of food just coming from, it's all either traced back to like, Kraft or Nestle, just go down the chain at some point. It all just boils down to Kraft or Nestle or some other handful of companies. But to the point of like, well, if we have lab grown meat and therefore it all just becomes central, just one giant company, if market forces,
let's say three.
Sure, if market forces result in that outcome, on principle, I'm not inherently against that. But what I would say is this is tied to another argument of like, well, since I'm against intellectual property, I think that would incentivize other companies to develop their own lab-grown meat, or that will lower the barrier, because if it becomes patented technology, which it will for the development, then like yes, some companies are going to have a 20-year or 30-year monopoly on the lab-grown environment. But if you don't have that intellectual property, then players can come in pretty quickly. But it is a concern. But
this is a fact check, though, Corey. Corey, you stated something totally wrong, though. Here, and specifically with beef, we have over 700,000 individual farms in the United States. 80% of those are owned by individual families, right? With over less than 1,000 head of cattle. So when you're talking about the beef industry specifically, you're just wrong about this, and that's why this is such a dangerous thing. You're literally taking out mom and pop.
Okay, so I said the food climate in general.
Chicken.
That's fair. I'm just saying.
I want to get Lactoid in. I want to get Lactoid in to answer that question, and then bring in everyone else.
Yeah, the patent thing is interesting. Like, I guess like it's a little bit scary. If like you've got one company that then patents the process for like doing it, and then they just like control it, like the entire meat supply. I think this is like, again, a problem with sort of the patent process and intellectual property law that we have in America. So maybe that's like a fair reason to like be skeptical. But the solution to that is obviously to like not, hey, don't let the government regulate people like new players trying to enter the market. But arguably that's what's happening right now because they're trying to regulate lab-grown meat out of the market.
So hold on, let's move away from the patent thing for a second. Let's assume that there are multiple ways to do this, right? That can pass, patent muster or whatever, right? That like it's that patents aren't the limiting factor. It's money, right? Capital investment into the process of like creating lab-grown meat at scale to the point that's economical, right? If that's the limiting factor, let's say there's like 3 players left, like Lactoid. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, it'd be fine with me. I mean, we've seen this happen with retail. Like Amazon has taken over like the shipping industry in America for the most part. Amazon and Walmart
create all the clothes.
You think that's a good thing?
You go back to the 50s. Well, yeah, it's better than, again, in the 50s. You go back in the 50s, like perhaps you had a different set of large corporations, but probably not to the size, because everything's kind of growing over time. Probably not to the size and complexity as the large corporations that we have today. I don't necessarily see that as a problem.
We also,
but by the way, if you did see this as a problem, let's say you're like a weenie
that conglomerates are monopolies, you don't see that as a problem.
Yeah, let's say you have this weenie hard leftist kind of mentality of like, if you're too good at something, we got to punish you. I mean, you could just like have some kind of anti-monopoly legislation then. To prevent,
don't we?
Like the entire, we do. So it seems odd to me that this
and it doesn't work because it seems like 6 companies
because the leftists are attacking
monopoly.
Okay, so
your argument then should be strengthening anti-monopoly legislation as opposed to banning. This is the
plan. It's a plan to destroy the
ranch.
My
argument is that we're getting priced out of shit, and that the lab-grown meat is eventually going to be like forced as like a fucking saving grace, which is not good.
Lactoid, it's also destroying.
What happened with DVDs,
Lactoid,
VHS.
It's also a plan to destroy.
Exactly. Hold on, just real quick. So number one, I do want to say, like, to Gibbs, like, it's kind of talked about market concentration too. Like there might be a lot of individual beef farmers, but like from what I like just looked up, it says like most of the output comes from like 4 big companies, right? It's like 85% of the output comes from 4 big beef companies. Now, I also don't necessarily think that's a problem, and it wouldn't necessarily be a problem if the same thing happened to lab-grown meat, right?
Supply. Like
no, they don't control the beef supply.
Well,
that's
hold
not
on,
how it works.
just real quick. You can have
perfect.
So you can have perfect competition with only 2 sellers, and in fact, you can have even with just 1 seller if there are no barriers to entry, which obviously in the real world there's always going to be barriers to entry, but you would still see a competitive outcome from that market even if only 1 seller, right? So like you have a lot more work ahead of you to say this would be a problem. Than just saying like 85% of the beef or whatever is controlled by 4 companies.
Like food.
No, but this is a problem.
You don't see competition. Wait, you don't see competition with necessities.
Even if I granted like this to Gibbs or whatever, like you're saying like it's gonna make it like slightly harder to nationalize the beef industry if we keep the beef industry we have now. Like to me that's just like a trivial benefit compared to what I view as like a pretty heinous practice, and I think both people have the moral intuition that the practices that go on beef farms.
That's crazy.
And I don't have moral intuition against it.
The idea that it's trivial that the whole government could be in control of our food supply. Oh yeah, that sounds great. That's real good. That's libertarian right there.
No. So I don't think it makes it significally harder.
Oh, it makes it significantly worse.
Beef or whatever when we have our current system as opposed to like lab-grown meat, right? Like even if I can see that it's a little bit easier, which I don't necessarily think it would be. You would only have to nationalize 4 companies to get 85% of beef output. So like that's. That's
not true at all. You just don't understand.
No, wait.
Hold on.
Because the farmers would have to wait after nationalization. The farmers or the ranchers would then have to agree to sell to those corporations.
Exactly.
Which I would assume most ranchers wouldn't do.
Wait, hold on. No, what do you mean? No. Obviously,
they don't own. Wait. These 4 companies don't own all
the land, bro. They don't own the land.
These companies don't own the ranches.
The U.S. government. Okay, the U.S. government, if it really wanted to, and this is kind of what I assume Gibbs' hypothetical was, the U.S. government could come in with guns and say, we own this ranch now. We could pass the Chairman now Act.
Do you know how much
Congress,
land that is?
right,
That's 27% of the United States. That's how much land they would have to physically occupy. That is a lot of land and a lot.
No, you don't have to. Again, you just have to find the owner. It's not like you need someone on every.
Which is harder. Hitting 5 companies or hitting 27% of the United States and finding individual farmers that are going to fight back.
You only have to hit 4 companies to get 85% output right now, right? So I don't think.
But those don't own the ranches. They don't own the ranches. Well, if the ranchers want to sell to La Michoacana directly, that's also there's another aspect of this that we haven't even talked about. Is Blacktoid. This is another thing. Look at hold on. No.
I'm not convinced that they don't own the ranches. I think there are a significant number of ranches owned by relatively large companies, which I don't think is necessarily a problem, but I'm pretty sure
they could also just buy the ranches.
It's 20%. It's 20% are owned by large companies. Anyway, here's the kicker, right? This is look who is behind this push. And who's investing and who's pushing? It's crazy.
Probably a bunch of vegans,
which are also leftist, liberal beta cucks. They're all behind it.
They're vegans, because it's inherently.
It is actually inherently because guess what we're talking about?
Well, no, I do see a lot of Republicans right pushing.
Hold on, look at what's happening right now. We're talking about redistricting. Where are Republicans the strongest? In the rural parts, the ranches.
True. And this is why the Republicans are opposing lab-grown meat.
Exactly, because they are intelligent. And the leftists are evil bastards, and they want to. This is why they're pushing these companies to hurt the average man. There's 2 things leftists love: it's slavery and it's hurting America. This is why they're selling us out. It's outrageous.
I need room to ask one just quick question, Gibbs. How am I anti-free market for being opposed morally to OnlyFans, but you are not anti-free market and are totally right-wing and everything, when you are in favor of banning, criminalizing a certain way of making meat?
Is market
because it's not meat.
That is a free market.
He's pro IP.
It's not meat.
Gibbs is pro intellectual property.
Well, I'm pro IP when it's convenient. No.
Okay.
Listen, I'll explain how. One of them is actually meat. Meat is from a fucking animal with a soul.
Yep.
And then I killed and I ate and I looked in its eyes. I said,
So you agree? You agree that animals have souls and you can kill things.
Yeah,
with souls.
and they taste better. It tastes better.
I got this
with the soul. The ants have the souls. You have a problem squishing on an ant? Come on, man. No, it's ridiculous. Listen, if there's a spider in my house, I let the spider out. Right? So whatever. But these animals only exist to get eaten. You're welcome for existing.
Look, if you want to talk shit about it, you want to say it's gross, like I do with OnlyFans. You can do that all day. But let's not ban it. Come on.
Well, no, we need to ban it. I'm going to personally benefit because I have a bunch of cows.
Is the lab-grown meat real meat?
No.
I mean, what do we define here by? I think we think so. I mean, it's.
We think so.
It's meat cells. It's like muscle cells, right? Isn't that what we call meat?
That's what we call meat?
Is that what we call meat?
I mean, is it? I would say so, yeah.
Are trans women?
What is a woman? What is meat?
We're on Twitch. We're on Twitch, Ali.
I'm just listen.
We're gonna start genetic changing at the code level, bro. We're gonna just produce these pieces for people now.
All right.
Listen.
Hold on. Wait. Response, Ali. If we put an embryo, let's say we like test tube baby. We like grew an embryo in a lab, grew into a fetus, this is a human being. Okay, bear with me. We grow them into
you're pro human meat. Yeah, all right, I'm in. Let's do a long period.
Oh my fucking god, we grow them into
meat.
Pro human meat.
I'm not trying to eat people here. Okay?
Soy the green.
Lab grown human. Yeah, lab grown human being.
Yeah,
and like they're a biological female, not to eat. They're a biological female. Would we say like, are you really a person? Like I would say,
I call them a clone. I call them a clone.
But
how are they a clone?
But they're still a person, though. They're still a human being by all metrics. Yeah, they might have been like a lab-grown human being, but they're still a human being.
Yeah, I call them a clone.
That's not a clone.
But fine.
You would assign them all right.
He would call it a soulless abomination.
My apologies, a synthetic human. My apologies.
A soulless abomination is what it'd be.
A soulless abomination? No, this is a human being. What the fuck?
Nah.
Wait a minute, they have one. Admiral Gibbs, your thing when you were talking about like an animal with a soul was like an animal with experiences that's grown up and that you can look in your eyes when you're murdering them, right? Well, this is a person that will grow up, right, has experiences, and before you skin them,
can have
souls,
how do we know that?
Synthetic humans,
stab them too,
they're humanoids.
Right? So they'd be a soul. They have
humanoids.
Oh well, so then you believe babies are humans.
Humanoid.
So then you believe babies are humans.
They are humans. They would deserve all rights.
You think if we have a bunch of babies grown out of
so you believe in the womb? You think the people in the womb are humans? Then
they're normal people. They're normal people.
You think they're normal people?
So yeah, well, hold on. What Prime is saying, if Prime is saying an argument is true, then he can't argue against a pro-abortion statement because they're also.
You call people like.
Wait,
can I ask a quick question? Do you call people like C-section people? Do you refer to them as that, or do you
maybe
that's a human being?
That's a goddamn.
They didn't do it the natural way.
Yeah,
like we care.
That's different. It's a wound. They like cut them open. It's from the person's
mind.
Admiral Gibbs, you of course remember, and I know you remember my arguments that like I say that abortion is killing because that is a human being inside them. I have no problem swallowing that and fair. Saying abortion should be legal, right?
Good.
So like those.
Then you should be against lab-grown meat.
No women. Why would I be? Sorry, how would that follow?
What if we use the embryos?
Guess what? You can admit that you killed someone's soul. It's a real thing. You don't want this chemical slop. You want this pharma slop.
No, I want to. Sorry.
You want that's not soul. That's not good.
Now we aren't killing something, then I would be. Sorry, I'm very confused.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great, thank you. Well, let's move on from there. But
you love killing things like it seems like you love killing things with a soul in one circumstance, and you don't in another. And Gibbs is just equally as inconsistent.
I'm saying.
To be clear, I haven't stated my position on this. So we're not finding Corey. Haven't stated my position on this. I would be closer to Admiral Gibbs and Ali in that I enjoy meat, but for different reasons, probably. I enjoy meat, and I should be able to have it just because it's enjoyable for me. That's it. There doesn't have to be any other reason because it's enjoyable for me, right? Because it tastes yummy in my tummy. That's why I like meat. And it's my right as an American and as a man to be able to eat whatever fucking kind of meat that I want, other than human, right? Other than whatever lab was trying to cook up.
Yeah,
there.
that's next. They're gonna lab grow human meat.
So other than I am for like just being able to just eat meat. However, right? At the same time, I wouldn't necessarily want to stifle this new industry. I'd like for them to get the legs under them if it's safe, right? Assuming safety is number one, right? Assuming it's safe, and then from there, if it happens to be economical, and also very important, if it has to be tasty, then I'd be happy to partake. I think it's a question to say, well, whether you would ban real meat at some point, which is a different question maybe we can tackle a little later on, right? But at the very least, I wouldn't necessarily ban this ban competition, right? Like I think it's competition in the marketplace. Maybe we can spur some innovation from our rancher friends like Gibbs. So I'm for
3D printers instead of cows.
But like overall, like I have no problem killing the cows, right? I do it myself. Well, if there are any cows around me, there's not. But I would do it myself. And I also eat many other types of animals too. I don't give a fuck about your pets. I'll eat that too. So let's go to our friend Nanfan, Corey, Ali.
Okay, so it seems rather insane to me to make the argument that animals do have souls, right? Their suffering, at least to some minimum extent, matters, right? Like but the benefit from killing animals that do suffer is like so high as to like justify like banning.
I just reject their souls. I just reject their souls.
Absolutely, like insane to be. Like if the next best alternative to like meat that suffers is not even like a bean burger anymore, right? It's like lab grown meat that is chemically identical, except for the fact that the animal like didn't suffer. It might taste like very marginally worse. To say that justifies the current plants absolutely do not suffer. Did you say that
they scream?
Justifies the suffering of cows and chickens on factory farms. Now is like,
what is a factory farm? That's what I keep asking you. You're talking about chickens. I can see what a chicken factory farm is. What is a factory farm in relation to a ranch? Tell me how that works. Because most of these ranches have under like 1,000 head of cattle. So if you're describing a factory farm, that only really applies like 20%.
So most of the output comes from factory farms, right? So
really?
it might be the case there are like a ton of local ranches that have it's such that like the average,
and those are
like
classified as factory farms, even with less than 1,000 cows.
I don't think that those are necessarily classified as factory farms. But the majority of the output of beef, and especially cows are lucky ones, like with chickens and fish and everything else, or fish, not factory farms, but they are farmed sometimes. The majority of the meat comes from like absolutely like heinous places, right? And that's true even of beef, even if the average is like only 1,000 per farm, because the majority of the output comes from the really big, really efficient farms, right? I would say like a factory farm is just a farm where the conditions are like typically like horrible, where the main goal is to not give animals like any modicum of a good life at all. It's just to produce as much output as possible with as less resources or minimum amount of resources, and that typically leads to very bad outcomes for the animals that are in them.
Yeah, this is just not true.
Corey, and then
maybe that's not true. Hold on, Gibbs, do you deny that like a lot of cows, for example, are subject to
80% of the beef in the United States comes from the smaller farmers? Then, so like you're arguing about 20% of ranches.
I don't know. What are you counting as smaller farmers? I'm
saying anybody. So when 20% are corporate owned, those are going to be your factory farmers. That's what you're talking about. That's 20% of ranches in the United States. And of that, 8 of those 700,000 that own like 27% of the land in the United States, most of those people that provide the beef for all of it, 80% in fact, own ranches with less than 1,000 head of cattle. So you're telling me when 80% of the cattle is coming from not factory farms, this is a real issue? No, all this is a leftist plot and backing to get rid of American beef. That's what it is, to hurt the American.
So number one, like corporate ownership or like any of that stuff is not necessary to be a factory farm. Like you can be a locally owned.
And that's why I keep telling you, what is a factory farm?
And I did not include anything about corporate ownership.
Okay, and so what I'm saying is when 80% of ranches have like less than 1,000 head, what are they classified as a factory farm?
I explained to you. So the data I have suggests that most of the output of beef comes from factory farms, right? It might be the case that the average is only 1,000, but that's because there's a lot of very small farms that don't produce much output. Most of the output, the source I have says 75% of the output comes from what would be classified as factory farms. And I want to ask you like a few direct questions. Do you think it is moral that many cows, I don't know the exact percentage, have their testicles castrated simply by like tying rubber bands around their testicles until they like restrict blood flow enough so that they fall
What percentage of cows are doing that? Have you been
where they like I don't know the exact percentage. I'm just
I actually have done this. Like we go and we take a herd of cattle. Wait, you take 30? No. Let's talk about this. We're going to talk about what's doing. I have never once in many years of ranching seen anybody do that ever. And I know lots of ranchers. I've helped them castrate their cattle. I've done it myself. I've castrated cattle. We've taken them to the vet to do it. I have never once seen this. So I want you to show me direct proof, like where you can show me like where this is a commonplace thing. One, you don't do that. And before the reason, infection, it's going to cause stress on the cattle. It's going to be bad for the beef. Like, I don't know who's doing this. It might be these factory farms. It might be these factory farms are talking about. Sure. But once again, 80% of beef in the United States is provided by farms that run less than 1,000 cattle, which is what the percentages are. As a rancher, I know for a fact. I can pull up different websites for proof. Okay, I post these websites hundreds of times now in multiple group chats and in here and on my Discord. So, like, this is not even up for debate at this point what the stats are on this. So you're just wrong. And then and let's hear your definition.
Does not include anything about the number of cows you own, right?
And that is the exact problem with what you're describing. When they would describe what I own as a factory farm, despite having thousands of acres and having cattle roaming in multiple free pastures, that's a factory farm. But they're sitting there and they only see the slaughterhouse at the right moment when they get killed. It's not like they have any bad experience. In fact, they're protected by dogs from predators. Tell me, how is this cow's life bad? At what point?
I just
He just is wrong. He just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Let him be wrong. Not fun.
Hold on. I can listen to hold on, just real quick. So we went the castration thing. That is a thing that does happen. I don't know the exact percentage of cows. Obviously, cows are like burned, right? Like we literally brand them. They get 3rd-degree burns. A lot of cows just die from freezing to death or overheating. When they're like kept outside. Usually, when cows leave a ranch and they're shipped to like feedlots, they're usually kept in like very, very small containers.
How long are they kept in a feedlot?
Stuff that's not very good for them to become fat as fast as possible, right?
Rather than making all the accusation, what's a factory farm? So moving.
Yeah, he already said it's not ranked off based off how many like cattle are there.
Yeah. So I'm asking what it is. What actually is it? Non-farm.
Are you asking me? So I just said yes. I just gave a definition: a farm that is like primarily concerned about getting the most amount of output for the least amount of resources, right? That does not give any
factory farming or factory ranching, like factory like meat production.
So I own
what do you consider that? What do you consider a factory?
What do I consider a factory? I can't tell you exactly when like a grain of.
I own a ranch and the whole point is to kill cows and sell them. Is that a factory farm?
What are the catch? Sorry, hold on.
But you have like open. So I want to consider, for example, there's like there's like
stop. I don't want to go down on the road of like what you don't consider, right? So I'm trying to like narrow this down, right? This is part of the argument against, right? Like, or the argument you're presenting against is like, we want to move away from these factory settings, which are bad. Okay, explain positively what is a factory setting, right? Just give us the characteristics you'd be looking for.
In the context of beef, of cows, typically when I say factory farm, I mean farms that have a lot of cows concentrated. Usually they're concentrated in a very small area. They're left in these feeding lots. They barely have room to lay down a lot of times. They're fed a bunch of like leftover slop. Feces are not cleaned up. They're usually under artificial lights that don't let them sleep properly. I'm talking about those type of conditions. Now, to be clear, I can't tell you exactly where the line is. Now, I think even most like what I would consider non-factory farms are still like net bad. I just think most of the output of beef comes from farms that the average person would consider like heinously immoral.
But that's where you're wrong. That's what you're wrong about right here. And this is the problem because what you just described, right, is less than 20% of beef production in the United States. That's a fact.
I don't believe that's true.
I don't care if you believe it. That's a fact, right? That's why I kept pressing you on what a factory farm is. Because by your earlier definition, before you started talking about laying down, by every metric, my ranch would be a fucking factory farm. Except I have over 1,000 acres, right? We have cattle. We have herds of hundreds in like some areas. We have herds of 30 in smaller ranch portions, right? They're all got plenty of room to roam. They're protected by dogs from predators. They have like coverages. They have their own ponds with running streams and filtration systems. They have little misters in some areas. These cows are living better than most hobos, all right? And so you're sitting here telling me, when they're sitting here living this life, they're living in terrible conditions, even though we're maximizing our herd by trying to get them to produce the most beef per cow, right? We're trying to have heavier cows. We're trying to keep them healthy. We try not to give them too many vaccines and things. All these different things. I don't give them a lot of alfalfa cubes. We got all the things. They're taken care of pristine,
every
right?
Ranch is a factory ranch.
Every ranch is a factory ranch. So when you're describing this, every single one of these,
some of them have commitments, right?
But hold on. Even with what you're saying is when 80% of beef is produced by farms that have over 1,000 head or less, that is not a even if it is a factory farm, that is not the situation you were describing where you're just herded up and like not able to move. You are literally talking about what the evil thing is that you're trying to make, which is that you're doing the exact same thing. The factory farms, I'll agree, those are probably evil. Corporations did that. And guess what? You want to make these corporations have the same thing with the power of lab-grown meat, and they're just as evil as those corporations doing that to the farms.
I don't think that's anywhere approaching the level of evil, considering lab-grown meat does not take the suffering.
Oh yeah, well, one is now going to kill people instead of killing animals.
Can I clarify? Can I attempt to clarify something?
Gibbs, there are a number of cows that live for a decent amount of time on a ranch before they are transported to a feeding lot where they are kept in bad conditions for the last like few months of their lives or whatever before they're then slaughtered.
But how long do you think they're at a feeding lot?
Like 50
generally
days?
50 days? But I ain't buying no cow. No slaughterhouse is buying a cow that's been in a feed. Oh my god, this is just like how I know you don't know anything about this topic. This is crazy. You do not keep your cattle at a feeding on 50 days.
Hold on. The source I have says 75% of cows are held in feeding lots for more than 45 days.
50 days, bro. This is just insanity. They are they're
held
in feeding lots. Hold on, no, because this is how this is going to go down. Is I'm going to be like, what is a feeding lot, right? And then we're going to describe his feeding lot, which is this cramped Holocaust-looking facility. That's what he's going to describe. And yes, I will agree, there are those feeding lots. But then there's going to be the feeding lots that house maybe 20 cattle or 40 cattle, or they're going to have one that's got 300 and they're only there for 3 days and they're moved to a different one. So like it's just like insanity when he's going to sit here and he's going to pick the most egregiously bad examples, which are such a small percentage of what actually is going down, and how I know you don't know anything about the industry.
I don't know if it's a small percentage.
Let's clarify. Let's actually clarify. So Gibbs, is your ranch, because you say that you own a ranch, so I'm assuming that's true, is your ranch a USDA inspected ranch approved for slaughter?
I don't slaughter on my ranch, no. I have a contract.
So is it a USDA inspected ranch that's capable of slaughtering?
Yeah, we could slaughter.
Okay, but then what do you typically do as a rancher? What is the typical process in terms of, do you raise your cattle and then sell it to something? Or do ranchers raise the cattle, do the slaughtering, and then sell it to whatever, Tyson or some other big conglomerate? What is the process?
Well, it's both. I mean, so I personally, I have the
So you misframe it. You mischaracterize it. Like, you say ranchers do this, but most ranchers don't do most of the slaughtering. As in,
that's not what I'm saying at all.
They grow cattle.
Hold on. That's not what I'm saying at all. You just don't understand the process either. Once again, okay, one, I have the slaughtering facility on my ranch. I can slaughter a cow if I need to, easy peasy, sure, and I do for the family, for a personal use, sure, all the time. We can do that. Hold on. That's not what we're talking about.
I want to clarify. So I just want to clarify. If you were not USDA inspected, could you still slaughter?
Yeah, I mean, for personal use, yes, you could. But I mean, I could.
For selling. For selling and
selling, no, I would not be able to do that.
Oh,
no.
Okay. So the laws require, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, like in order to sell, to act as a food product and to do the slaughtering, you as a rancher, you need to be USDA inspected and certified to do that, and then to sell as a food product. And the typical process is ranchers, since I think a large proportion of ranchers, they are not USDA certified to do the slaughtering for selling to food to the general public. So the part of the process is ranchers raise cattle, they sell, and they go to a feedlot, like Non-Fawn was alluding to, and they spend time on a feedlot. Those feedlots can be small, but a large proportion of them, if not probably majority, are large, as you say, Holocaust-sized
Where do you think a feedlot is generally located, Corey?
In probably a large place that can deal with that amount of waste that's coming from those amount of animals.
Okay, and it's probably located fairly close to where the agriculture is going down, correct?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, and would you agree that then, once again, the local butchers, many of them, will either be in the inner cities, or not inner cities, or in the cities at like large processing facilities.
Those classic inner city butchers, right?
No, I mean like in the cities, like they're gonna have large facilities, or they're gonna be very close, like local butchers, right? They're gonna have like cities around, like say I live.
I don't know that most people are buying their meat from local butchers.
You've never heard of like a meat market, like I would sell to like La Michoacana, which is like a chain of Mexican meat markets throughout San Antonio. That'd be a local meat market.
I think the general population in the United States gets most of the meat from your standard supermarket.
What about HEB? Okay, that's a standard supermarket, a local supermarket. That's like regional.
I'm Canadian, so I don't know this typical.
Sure, it's like a Walmart. It's like a Walmart, but it's a big regional. Anyway, sure. I, for example, have contracts with La Michoacana, a place called Pollock's. I got one with Saltgrass Steakhouse, and we also have one with fucking HEB, right? We have contracts with all of them, right? Now, it goes to a feedlot, and then all that happens in the feedlot, for us, they go, okay, this cow goes to that place, this cow goes to that place, this cow goes to that place, and the cows are there about 3-4 days. That's because we already have pre-made contracts. The cattle that y'all are talking about are the cows that are sold in these commercial slop things, and they're held in these giant holding facilities that are held for extended periods of time. Most of these smaller feedlots, where they sit there, they go to one processing facility, then they're sent to a butcher place, which is maybe a feedlot. Like, this is totally different things, and you're calling two different things feedlots, and you're classifying them as the same thing.
So the data I have, and you are free to link data if you think this is wrong, it says that 75% of cows are from factory farms that have concentrated feeding operations where they're held in these lots for more than 45 days. So I don't know where exactly you're getting your data from, but that's the data what I have on hand says, right? Like this
is just like a fake.
But was anything just to outline, was anything that I said was a mischaracterization in terms of the process? So like ranchers is not necessarily given that,
but it's a mischaracterization. The problem is a mischaracterization of what y'all are doing is a mischaracterization of the facts. Like you're like, yeah, everything goes to a feedlot, they're still there 75 days. But a feedlot can vary quite a bit fucking differently between one to another. And y'all are saying it's a commercial feedlot. We already just discussed what a factory ranch is. By y'all's definition, I have a factory ranch, which is ridiculous if you compare it to like a corporate ranch where they have like something going down where all the cows are trumped up in a little room. Like that's crazy. But it's still classified the same thing by y'all's metric. It's all about wordplay. It's very dishonest. That's the problem I've had.
No, I mean I don't think I ever used the term factory ranch. That was a term that you came up with. But to be clear, the thing that I want to get across, is simply that it seems like we all assign above zero value to animal suffering, and cows. A lot of cows are the. God damn it, lactoid. Okay, cows have
That's why he advocates for sex with dogs. He's pro sex with dogs.
I don't advocate to do it.
No, he's super pro.
I believe that they suffer. I just don't mind killing them to eat them. Yeah.
Okay, so you can believe that they suffer and just not assign any moral weight to it. But if you assign some minimum moral weight to the fact that animals suffer, right? Again, I think cows are a lucky one. Most of the gains from lab-grown meat will probably go to pigs, chickens, and fish, and shrimp, of course. But people substituting real meat for lab-grown meat, once lab-grown meat becomes commercially viable, would reduce animal suffering, and that would just be a moral good.
No.
Why not?
Because moral. Why? Why is it the moral good?
Because do you assign above zero value to animal suffering?
Are you not?
Yeah, but I assign more value to human suffering.
That's fine. That's fine. I assign.
Yeah, well, and I'm not gonna. So I'm not gonna suffer. I'm not gonna impose any more suffering on myself, so that some animals don't suffer. Yeah.
But what you're saying there is that you infinitely value human utility, infinitely more than animal utility, right? So we're
I value natural. I value natural lifestyle to
natural lifestyle.
I guess full.
We're all the Liver King on here, okay?
No, it's not even Liver King, man. It's just in a world where
I'm not gonna eat raw beef right now.
Because I see not even the choice. I see the force being made where it's fully synthetic and everything processed to the attempt of eating natural and locally sourced and so on and so forth. It's it's just I see the force towards synthetic and I don't like it. So
I don't really. So I don't know what we're exactly mean by force here. I mean, I think that's people are investing in lab good investment.
Forces.
So here's the thing. No, here's the thing. Lacto, you've been saying market forces and so on and so forth. It's this was maybe true back in the past, right? Where a new industry would come in and it would revolutionize everything and it would be cheaper for the people and so on and so forth. But what's been happening lately is a new industry will come in, and because it has to compete with the original industry, it is fucking free for the first 5 to 10 years when it has all the investors and so on and so forth. So you have Uber, Airbnb, every streaming service, and then automation in all the fucking chains, right? So initially, yeah, things are a little bit cheaper because they have to compete with the Uber had to compete with cabs and Airbnb had to compete with hotels. But now, if you look at it, they're the same price. An Airbnb is the same price as a hotel, if not more expensive, because now it has a novelty to it. So that's the problem, with this innovation. It does not take any account into the unintended consequences, right? So right now we're talking about lab grown meat. All the ranchers, let's just say we go forward, we lose all the ranchers, we lose all the local farms, we lose all of these things because we just have these essentially pharmaceutical companies that are going to be producing everything. What about all the workers, right?
You can trust Big Pharma.
Yeah, like with the automation right now, with
automation, is this just like a big work program?
What?
Yeah.
That's no, it's not a big work program.
That's what it is.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like, I've been saying this for a while. We keep like
this is meat welfare.
We do not take into consideration how many low skill workers we have, right? And unless you're okay with UBI, we have no replacement for the jobs they're going to do if we keep fucking automating them. Right? If we keep automating their jobs, if we keep replacing their jobs with fucking more sciencey like essentially robotic and science bullshit, what are we gonna do with all the workers? Now listen, I'm for UBI, right? I'm down to give people a basic income, but I just don't think that's gonna fucking happen. I think what's gonna happen is right now the lab grown meat is gonna come in. It's gonna have to compete with natural meat, so it's gonna obviously be cheaper for the first 5 to 6 years to get everyone on board. And once it has the fucking market, once it gains the has the market,
economics,
and the other industries don't exist, it's just gonna go right fucking back up to the same price as natural meat, if not more. And it's gonna be owned by a few fucking conglomerates versus local sources. Yeah, man, I'm pro local like owned shit. Particularly when it comes to necessities like food, like particularly with food.
Then they're gonna outlaw it. That's what's next.
Okay, so I don't think I don't think holistically you see good evidence of the effect that you're describing, because like markets are still competitive even once like some type of old technology has been
cabs exist.
Also, food prices have generally been going down over time.
Yeah.
What is?
Food is like one of the things that's like actually becoming more affordable.
What food prices are going down?
It's like general food pricing for like your average person, like the average diet. It's like more affordable to get food now than it was like in the 50s or 60s.
Listen, I don't know a single person who says this now. I understand that's anecdotes. Now you're gonna pull out some economist that tells me, food is the best price it's ever been.
No.
This is what the lefties want.
I don't know who you know that's sucking. Here's really what this is.
What?
Thing like a whole bunch of things. Like society's complicated. Generally speaking, a whole bunch of things, most things I would say, are getting better with time. And generally speaking, most people say that shit's getting worse. It's very easy to appeal to nostalgia. We're 90s kids, like we all like to think about Pogs. The reality is Pogs were kind of lame. And if we had Pogs now, we really wouldn't spend that much time doing it. Like if you ever
things wasn't lame, brother.
No, this happens to me all the time. Like, yeah, hold on. There are things about the past that I think you can make a very strong argument that technology has made worse.
Like the power of the dollar.
Bars.
Well, no, like social media and like mood and depression, stuff like that. And I agree that like inflation. You're right, inflation's a thing. But if you look at like real personal income or real household income, that is income adjusted for inflation, it is generally going up. Like your average median real income is generally going up. And yes, like there are certain key categories that have where inflation's gone up a lot higher. No, there's.
What do you think the cost of living is?
Because real income accounts for inflation. So that cost of living, that's the inflation we're talking about. People just have more buying capacity than they used to.
Listen, you're on the wrong side.
There's a couple key asset classes where inflations tend to outpace wages, and people will hyperfixate on that, right? When eggs go up in price every couple of years, people hyperfixate on that. When housing, for example, housing's very expensive now. You're right. The price of housing has gone up faster than wages has. But that's not the case when it comes to food. That's not the case.
Just say you want socialism, Lactoid. Just say you want socialism.
Because I don't want to ban. Hold on. You can't reference socialism when you're talking about just banning an industry. I have to point out here, like, it's in direct competition to your industry.
No,
is there like maybe like a little bit of like self-serving?
McDougal's like $3.50.
Probably fine.
Government subsidized beef.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I can't let that stand. Right, my friend Gibbs, self-serving.
Listen,
fucking never. Take that back.
I would probably make more money because I have higher grade beef anyway. So I'd be like the new Texas Wagyu or whatever, some shit. We'd be fine. It'd be designer beef.
To be clear, farmers are already greedy fucks, okay, with all the subsidies and trade protection that they get, okay? Fuck these farmers.
They deserve them.
Well, you guys said, it wasn't a jobs program, and then you immediately went on to say Unless you're okay with a UBI where you need these like farming jobs.
I didn't say
like,
that.
It does just seem
that
like
was him.
No, that was me. And I say that true. It's true of all low skill labor is necessary in this fucking country because we have a lot of low skill people who do not have the fucking capacity to work jobs.
Hold on, do you think
if we just keep stripping their jobs away, they're gonna need fucking UBI.
It's high skill labor too, though. By law, butchers, they're high skill labor.
That's 100% true.
To our friend Corey, who's been waiting quite patiently.
Well, that's true. That's okay.
We'll probably go back to the same topic. But okay, so Gibbs and Ollie. Some arguments that I've heard, but mostly from Ollie. But you've alluded to it, Gibbs, of like lab grown meat is like unnatural. Okay, this unnatural slop, so to speak. So out of curiosity. I suspect I know what your answer is, Ollie, in terms of I suspect it's no, but correct me, of like, so how do you feel about, okay, let's say space travel and going to Mars? As in you pro or against that, or do you view that as unnatural?
I think it's a waste of time.
Sure, and that's what I suspected. So, and Gibbs, are you of the same opinion?
I already caveated it'd probably be necessary for space travel.
Okay. Yeah, so if lab grown meat was necessary in terms of technology, you would not be against it.
Well, so here's my thing with space travel, right? I think that it's good for the travel there.
Right, so
it's fine.
I'm just curious.
But once we're there, we can clone up some cows on the new planet.
Yeah. That's what I say. If you want, did you want to colonize Mars? And do you think how we're going to colonize Mars is getting a bunch of cows there or lab grown meat?
Well, I think in the long term you have to have like animals.
Mars.
Genetically
engineered. We've tried this shit before, right?
Okay,
the church was originally against light bulbs.
I'm not done. I'm done. So, and also, in that vein, okay, where people seem to be against this sort of like unnatural thing and whatever natural is, it's a stupid concept. Out of curiosity, Gibbs, if I remember correctly, it was either last week or the week before, you were complaining about misinjecting some synthetic peptides. Is that unnatural and
that's called it's good for you.
Corey,
that's different. That's different.
Wait,
I'll tell you how it's different.
How is synthetic peptides different?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you how.
And also, what I'm going to put a pin in my point. I find it super interesting. Okay, especially coming from the right. Right seems to have this sentiment of pretty much viewing lab grown meat as unnatural. Even though there's this movement on the right of like pretty much every older right-wing influencer is probably on testosterone replacement therapy. Almost certainly RFK Jr. is. And testosterone. How is that testosterone sourced? They're not getting it from animals. Okay, this is lab-grown testosterone, and they seem to be in favor of that. And I'm curious how you view your synthetic peptides then.
I'll tell you how. One is because insurance pays for them because it's fantastic. It's a great thing. And two,
so as long as it's free. So if your meat was
not free, it's not free. I pay for it. I pay for it. Hold on, and there's also a difference between two things. One, this is big pharma, and it's kind of we're taking a risk. We know I'm fat. Hold on, I'm fat. Hold on, I'm fat. I'm like, you know what? We're gonna lose some weight. Let's try the fucking peptides. We need knee regeneration. Let's try this. Hold on. I already granted this is pharmaceutical, right? And I already granted in my opening, if you listen, that this is like pharmaceutical grade stuff, and that's why it's not good for the environment, right? Listen, but here's the thing. When it comes to the small scale production like the synthetic peptides, that's a much smaller greenhouse effect in this case, right? It's going to be much less than having to recreate billions of tons of beef in a lab grown facility that's going to actually require more resources than if you add them with cattle. It's not good. It's not good overall. Totally different scenarios. And secondly, how is this even applicable? This is a personal choice that I've made compared to these people are going to start putting that fucking synthetic peptide in your fucking meat. How long before we have Ozempic meat? Is everybody ready to just be on Ozempic beef? That's what you're going to have to get. You're going to get literally Ozempic beef. Oh, you ready for your vaccine and your synthetic beef? That's what you're going to get. No, this is what has actually been proposed. They said, hey, what we should start doing is in canned tomatoes and canned other things, we're going to start that are synthetic. They're going to start breeding the vaccines into these things. I've seen it proposed several times. I don't know if it'll work. But hey, why are we not going to? That's the next step. Why are we just not going to give you? Hey, guess what, guys? Why don't we just start growing humans? We're going to have lab-grown human meat. Hey, it's just the cells. Why don't we just try that? There's nothing wrong with this. No problem. I don't see any bad things coming from this.
So Corey, my thing isn't necessarily that I'm like against everything that's unnatural, because obviously, listen, bro, I eat synthetic foods, right? Drugs are awesome. Life exists, right? But my issue is really one of a market. Yeah, it's a market issue. I've been seeing, over the past 5 years that we're just getting we're just treating these low skill workers like shit. They're being replaced. I don't think it's good. I don't think we have a market replacement for them. And then when it comes to like the Zyn, right? We went from smoking tobacco to now I have my little Zyn pouch, no smell, tastes great, where we move on with life. But when it comes to something like food, yeah, I don't want food to be monopolized by X amount of company, because what's going to happen is it's going to start off as cheap. It's going to take over the market. Then it's going to get right back to the fucking prices that are today, or at least comparable for whatever. Well, you can say no to that, but every fucking company that's come in and overtook the market has done that. Can you name one that hasn't? What's one company that's come in and made things cheaper and then didn't raise the prices? Streaming? Is it Uber? Is it Airbnb? What are these innovative companies that are coming in and overtaking?
If I raise the price,
Airbnbs used to be able to get Airbnbs for like fucking $20 a night in Miami, right? It used to be able to get them because initially they operate at a loss because they have all the fucking investment up front because they're a startup, so they're trying to gain a market, so they get everyone hooked onto their product because it's so easy and convenient to use, and then over the course of the years they have to pay back their fucking investors, and now all the prices go up. Now the cost of Airbnbs are comparable, if not more expensive than what's called cabs to Ubers, cable to streaming services. It all starts off like this. So the innovation isn't going to remain cheap just for the sake of.
You're
Look at drug prices today.
Number one, well, I think that's mostly and that's not really because of. It's mostly because of patents, probably. But so, I think you're inferring that's due to price setting power when I don't think
I'm not saying it's like price setting power. I'm just saying that's what happens. It's not I can even say it's not up to these companies, right? It's not up to the companies that the price ends up matching with the original cost of whatever it is. I'm not saying it's anything malicious. I'm saying that's just what ends up happening.
It is something malicious. It's a plan by the left.
I'm not going to attribute malicious to anything.
No, but hold on. Look who's pushing it. It's all these lefties and their investors are pushing this, trying to replace the American beef industry, which also happens to vote Republican. Wow, what a coincidence.
I think it's obviously dumb to allege some grand conspiracy.
Oh, you don't think so? You don't think people are pushing? Hold on. Hold on. Let me just ask this: would it benefit the lefties more or less if all the agriculture people that were sitting here all of a sudden didn't have any money to contribute to campaigns and didn't fucking vote, or because they had to go move other places and move the districts where they had jobs, they're outnumbered? Would this or would this not help the left?
I don't know.
It would because they do vote Republican, and they're gonna have to move to inner cities where they're gonna be outvoted.
They vote Republicans, but I'm also sure, like I said, okay, farmers, greedy fucks. Okay, I'm sure that they lobbied the Democrats too to get farming subsidies as well. There's a reason the Democrats true, but okay, so look, I think so to the extent that the price rises back to where it was or whatever, which again, I don't think there's necessarily good evidence for that, because the price of a lot of things has been going down, at least in real terms. That's presumably some other metric like quality or whatever has increased, right? That's the reason that consumers were continue to demand it, right? If Airbnb, was competing with hotels, but then eventually people got hooked on Airbnbs, and then Airbnb raised the price again. Well, hotels could respond to that by lowering their prices or increasing their quality. So to the extent that it's back up to the same price, it's because consumers are still choosing to buy Airbnbs over hotels, because hotels can't compete with whatever else Airbnb has to offer, right? So I think it's still a net gain or whatever. As for the unskilled workers or whatever, unemployment is at 4% right now. We already have a welfare state that redistributes a lot of income to those lower skilled workers or whatever. And I think obviously we should be concerned about what's good for the country and everyone as a whole. So it is true there might be unskilled workers that are left behind by some policies or whatever, but if it benefits the nation as a whole because everyone else experiences higher wages and we get better goods or whatever, that's just an overall good thing. And again, I just want to be clear, I think all that's necessary for my argument to hold, again, is simply assigning some minimum value to animal suffering, and now we've moved away from this point. But I think sociologically, if you say that you value just human utility infinitely more than any animal utility or whatever, or animal welfare, you get into some really sticky places where like it would just be perfectly acceptable to be, kick a puppy or whatever if I get pleasure out of kicking a puppy.
No, you're just like okay with human suffering because your moral virtue signal of like I care about animal suffering at all. So like if you can agree that with new industry we're gonna have people that we leave behind, but like the greater moral good is that other people get to like live better lives, right? Like, but those humans suffered, and it's like is their suffering zero or greater than zero or no?
No, obviously their suffering is greater than zero.
Then why are we focusing on reducing their suffering? There are species, right?
Because
if you are going to do like
animal kingdom, I think it is a trivial benefit to humans compared to like a really fucking horrible thing that happens.
Well, you think so, but there's no, but not like, but what about all the unintended consequences, right? We go into the future and this shit is either atrocious for us, or we have like a monopoly of like of a necessity. This isn't good.
I think I just responded. That's the thing I initially responded to, which is like I don't think we see like much good evidence of that, and like to the extent that it happens or whatever, like again, it's because consumers want that, right? Consumers still buy Airbnbs because they think Airbnbs are a better deal than hotels, despite the fact that Airbnb like may have raised prices at one point or whatever, right? Like, I think that's still like
going to compete with Airbnb.
The answer is Ollie. He doesn't care about human suffering. He's totally fine with all these people losing their livelihoods, losing their farms, losing their ranches. He doesn't care about their suffering at all. It's fine. It's totally okay.
So this is what happens in the economy generally, right? Is we have creative destruction, like industries come and go, and now I would be for. Like I'm for welfare and a redistributive state.
So, Nodbot, where do cows live out in the wild? Where does the modern heifer live out in the wild?
We're gonna have to kill all of them, right?
Most of them.
No. Where does a Santa Gertrudis grow naturally in the wild? Can you tell me?
I don't know. So I don't know.
You don't know? I'll tell you. That's fine because there's no Santa Gertrudis that grow wild in the cow. They're bred.
Believe it or not, Gibbs, I was just about to say. My understanding is most of those.
So what you're actually advocating for is killing all those cattle. So all those cattle are going to die, and that and those species are going to go extinct. So that's good. I guess that's not animal suffering. So mainly all cattle might go extinct because what we're going to keep them.
I want a yes or no answer with this. Gibbs, yes or no, if you had a button in front of you to bring an infant into existence for 10 minutes, and during its entire 10 minutes alive, it'd be like skinned alive, right? Like it'd just be endlessly tortured for 10 minutes and then it died. Would you press that button? Is it a good thing to press that button?
Right.
But there's difference between human and whatever. Is this the
hold on? Let's just engage.
Argument is what's the difference between a human and an
animal?
Let's
engage with this argument. Let's engage with it. Does that guarantee the species continues or no?
Vegan gains argument.
No. Does the species go extinct? Does the species go extinct if I don't push the button?
It's like. No.
Because this go. Oh well, okay. Well, if I don't push the button, no. Because that's what you're arguing. These will cause the species to go extinct.
A horrible life. Hold on. The only principle I'm trying to get Gibbs to accept, which I think everyone intuitively accepts.
Well, I don't accept the cattle that doesn't live a horrible life.
Is that if you live a horrible life, like that life is just like is not worth living, and it's not moral to bring that life into existence if it truly is like horrible. And we
hold on. If your species
only should we just kill orphans?
Hold on. If your species only live, hold on. If your only species,
you don't think orphans?
No. Hold on. Let's examine what you're saying. If a species, no. Don't let him run for this. If your species only exists because you're going to have something terrible happen to you, and you're going to cause this baby to have bad things, and your species only continues to exist, then you have a moral obligation to live that horrible life to continue your species. That's the sad thing. Hold on, because as an animal, your job is to survive and reproduce. That's what your job
isn't necessarily.
Why is there some? There's no good reason to believe there's some intrinsic value to like species or whatever. At least
so then we can just wipe them out.
Value in suffering.
Then there's no intrinsic
value. There's no intrinsic value to existing.
If you accept the principle,
why is there intrinsic value to their suffering, or to their non-suffering?
What? Sorry, Brian.
If there's no intrinsic value to the species living in general, to their non-suffering.
Yeah. Say that again.
You cut out for a little bit.
Yeah. Like 2 seconds.
If there is no intrinsic value to their to the species itself. Is there why would there be intrinsic value to their lack of suffering?
Well, because I think, and this is obviously more controversial than I think is what is necessary for my argument. So I think what is intrinsically valuable, morally speaking, is suffering, any suffering, right? So like I hold that like 1 unit of suffering between a cow and 1 unit of suffering in a human is equal, right? Now I don't think you actually have to accept that to have the position that lab grown meat is good, even if you say like intrinsically, or even if you have like just some minimum extent.
But let's just think your process out.
What with animals?
What happens whenever lab grown meat overtakes normal beef? Right? We have all these cattle. They don't have any intrinsic value anymore. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna sell them at cheaper. We're gonna send them to the slaughterhouse. Hold on. They're gonna go to the slaughterhouse, and they're gonna be in worse conditions than they were before because now we have to get rid of them quickly, and so they're gonna be underfed and just butchered in horrible conditions at a massive rate and suffer more. And then the species is gonna die off and go extinct. So what is they suffer just as much and then lost their species, if not more. So what is the benefit to this?
Gibbs, if obviously like. If you just like if you switched it cows for like babies or whatever, the intuition would like totally flip, right? Like it's obviously good to do a one-time. Obviously better to do a one-time big kill off of babies than to have a infinite baby torture factory, right?
No, it continues to guarantee the species continues.
So what is the justification for saying that not only do species have intrinsic value, but the intrinsic values that species have is greater than the intrinsic value that suffering has?
I would rather, as a species, continue on and suffer than not have the chance to continue on at all. That's just basic science. Like that's the whole point of a species is to continue on living.
So you can say that's the whole point of a species from like an evolutionary perspective. But I'm
how
talking
much
like
suffering makes your life worth living?
Like, I want to. Sorry, let's go to Corey. He's been waiting patiently, and then we're going to Ali, and then I'm sure Lactoid has something to say.
I mean, we'll probably turn to this point, but I do want to attempt to address Ali's point or concern. I understand your concern in terms of the employment of as technology advances, potentially there's the potential for this unskilled labor to pretty much be phased out of the job market. But then I'm curious, okay, so Netflix, let's say we currently have Netflix, we had it for a while. I'm assuming more or less, are you as in, do you hate Netflix? Or are you a subscriber of Netflix?
I'm extremely frustrated that they manipulated the market, and now Netflix or Hulu or they're fucking expensive as shit, man.
Yeah, but sure, but
that's it. I don't hate it. No, obviously I use them. I use the service. Yeah.
Okay. So, but then I don't expect you to recall, but if as a refresher, okay, Netflix originally started as whatever DVDs through the mail and your classic red envelopes, and then they moved to streaming, and arguably Netflix was a major contributor to Blockbuster no longer existing. Should we have banned Netflix to conserve all the Blockbuster employees to make sure that
I do think
labor?
I do think there's a difference between something luxuries or retail. Like Blockbuster isn't a necessity, right? I think food is a little bit different. So I think when it comes to banning things in the food realm, I think there should be a little bit more regulation. Sure, if market wants to overtake and Blockbuster fails, right? That's fine. But then all the movie theaters have failed too, and I don't think that's a good thing. I think everyone being at home and watching all their I've noticed something in going out. We went out to a city around here Sunday, and it just feels like no one goes out anymore, right? Because everything is at home. Right, there is no community. There is no fucking. There's no local community. There's no love for the local. So it's just I don't think this is a benefit. And then long term, I just see a bunch of abandoned buildings outside. I don't see a nice society. If everyone's just fucking in their houses, right? I don't see it as a net good in the future.
I agree. I don't want to get to this technological cyberpunk scenario of we're all just stuck.
I'm thinking more idiocracy.
Sure, but I don't know for sure. But I don't think lab-grown meat is going to be the domino that really leads to that outcome.
I think it's. I think once we start, once people are okay with their necessities being ultra processed and monopolized, and we're okay with our necessities being highly unnatural. I think that's the beginning of people kind of sitting at home and having slop tubes, and just you have your AI TV, you have your slop tube, you have your comfy lazy boy, and you never have to leave your house because everything's just fucking at home, right? You're not working because you have UBI, because everything's automated, so you don't have to work, right? This is the utopia we talk about, but ends up being idiocracy, I think. It's a movie. I don't know if you guys have or haven't watched the movie. So like, yeah.
I know what you're referencing. Yeah. Like I don't that world sounds awful to me too. Yeah. But again,
unfortunately I think we're doing all these things in hopes of utopia. We're like, okay, listen, if we reduce like human labor, right? Like they don't have to fucking work as much.
And actually, I would argue. Okay. I can maybe flip it around in terms of if we have lab-grown meat and it progresses, okay, to the point where it actually overtakes current meat practices. I would argue that given the excessive land use that animal agriculture overtakes, we'd have more green space to work with. And we could turn all that green space into actual parks to lure the people out of their houses to go play in these great parks that we'd have and all those green spaces.
I mean, this is like this isn't malicious intent, but like the corporations don't want that. They just want you to be a consumer at home. Unfortunately, man, the people who push for like the third spaces in the parks and all that, they get called socialists or they get called anti, like whatever the fuck it is. So it's like the corporations who are
I'm a socialist like Lactoid.
Yeah, but so once we start getting into that world, Lactoid's gonna be like, no, fuck that. I don't want my fucking just reduce the fucking taxes. So it doesn't work out. We're talking about utopia, and yeah, we're gonna reduce all this suffering, but all this unintended consequences that are gonna come with it, right? It's not even like
no one's talking. Sorry, we gotta stop this utopia. I think that's unfair to put on Non-Fun and Corey, right?
I'm being hyperbolic.
Talking about like allowing an industry to take root, right? To even try, rather than get banned immediately. So like, no one's saying this will bring about the utopia, right?
No, I'm saying it's
I'm saying it's start Corey's
point. He's saying if we do end up going towards the meat, we're gonna have all this empty green land and we can turn them into parks. And I'm like, I don't know if I believe that that's the route that we go, but maybe,
yeah,
we can be hopeful, but that's what I'm saying is like the intention is utopia, right? Like to Non-Fun, I'm not like prescribing it, but his intention and goal in all this is to reduce animal suffering, like initially, and then human suffering and so on and so forth that comes along, right? Isn't that like your whole thing in this argument?
Kind of. I mean, I think like I do like just generally think like private property like is good. So like I have a presumption in favor of the government like not interfering in markets generally. Now that's a presumption. It can obviously be overcome by certain externalities or whatever. But like I think the thing that makes lab-grown meat specifically just like really good is that animal suffering is really bad. It's like one of the worst things humans do right now. And I think as long as you assign some minimum value to animal suffering, lab-grown meat is just like really good because it reduces it by quite a bit, hopefully.
Oh, let's go to our friend Lactoid.
Ollie and Gibbs. Let's assume.
I just have one more question for Non-Fun. Sweatshops. How do we feel about that? Is it like? Are they? Because we said something about how much suffering before a human life or a life living isn't worth living, right? That was something along those lines, if I heard correctly.
Well, I just said we all have an intuition that it would not be good to bring something into life if it lived like a truly horrible, like torturous life, right? And now people might draw the line at different places, but I think that is like obviously true that like lives that are like absolutely torturous and horrible are not worth living, and it's good to reduce those.
All right, fair. Okay. Go ahead, Lactoid. Sorry.
You're good. I actually think I do sort of have an issue like when people. I think there is like a concern when we say that being's life isn't worth living. So I'm going to make like the executive decision for it and end that thing's life. I think that leads to some like pretty dark paths potentially. So I'm not saying that this can't be the case. I think I can imagine like scenarios, which is like pretty obviously the fact. But like if somebody was like very depressed or like an orphan who, based on my metrics, like was going to go on to live like a horrible life, I don't think I'd be like comfortable like making the decision. Be like, oh, we're going to go ahead and like we're going to make this like suffering end right now because I have decided that your suffering metric is too high compared to your pleasure metric, and that's pretty like concerning. At the very least, you can understand the concern, right?
Yeah, but for factory farms, we're also the one saying that we get to bring them into existence in the first place, right? Like we're the ones artificially inseminating cows. We're the ones selectively breeding them specifically so that they that's not obviously not I don't know why we keep bringing that up, but like we're the ones saying, we're going to artificially inseminate these cows and we're going to selectively breed chickens such that they, grow super big, super fast.
I'm talking more on like an individual level. I know Gibbs is referring to like the existence of domesticated cows as like being particularly important. I'm not super convinced about that. And I would agree. I mean, we kill cows all the time. It's part of what we do with them. So I think we got to be careful when we start like determining, well, we care about the suffering of this thing to the point where we're going to start making decisions on its existence. If you don't care at all about the suffering of animals, then you don't even have to do this calculation, right? Like for me. But if you do, then you have to do that calculation. And I'd be really concerned about like people making that calculation for humans, because I don't want anybody like one day waking up and saying, that lactoid guy, he looks pretty sad. I'm going to go make his suffering end. Like that'd be pretty fucking terrible. But the question I had for Ollie and Gibbs, let's assume like these bans don't really take hold, like these anti-competition legislation, because that's what it is. And the lab-grown meat starts like growing, initially, buoyed by these, rampaging vegans that we all like dislike so much. But like over time, it's not just the vegans anymore. It's also like their spouses who are now like have to eat this shit too because they're vegan spouses. But then it's also the kids, and then it's also their family friends, and then like, oh, this really isn't so bad. This is basically the same thing. And then all of a sudden, like because of production, because there's an increased amount of demand and overall production is increasing, you see the methods become refined. You see prices overall start to drop. And then let's say like 20, 30 years from now, there's no grand conspiracy. Like 30 years from now, there really is no natural meat. It's all lab grown. But like the concerns that you guys have really don't materialize.
No, hold on. That is the conspiracy.
Hold on. So let's say it just doesn't materialize. Let's say that the meat actually is perfectly healthy. The incidence of disease is actually less. There's more variety. It's cheaper. It doesn't actually all get controlled by one like kind of monopoly. There's like a pretty healthy competition around the whole country as to different like food growers competing with each other. If this is the future that we get, would you say, oh, well, I guess I was wrong. It seems like we're all good. Or would you say this is still awful because there's something about like a natural meat that is just like intrinsically important to value? There's something intrinsic about the natural way of gathering meat.
If everything goes perfectly, right, I'll say, fuck it, I was wrong, right? If it isn't monopolized, but then personally, I will have a fucking gripe that I grew up in a world where the option of natural meat was essentially stripped from me, right? It was taken from me. I don't have that choice anymore, and I have to eat.
Why would you even want that? That's like
I mean,
it's like saying I don't want to live in a world where my t-shirt's not made by little children, assuming that we all lifted children all out of poverty. I was robbed of that experience of buying a t-shirt that made from a child in sweatshop. Just like I've been robbed of the experience of buying cotton sourced from a particular way, hundreds of years.
I think it's different. I think it's different. I think if I had to be if I couldn't go outside anymore, but I had a virtual reality world, right, and then I could explore everything, and I'd still feel shit about not being able to explore the actual world if it was taken away from me, right? If we pollute the outside so bad, right, that we can't go outside, but you can stay inside and you have your little virtual reality, I'm gonna be fucking pissed that I can't go outside. It's gonna irritate me. Right?
Okay, well, wait.
And so that's more what I'm talking about. I do have a tie to like eating meat. Yes.
If we get to that place that lactoid said and nothing of your concerns materialize, and you're subjected to a blind taste test. You have a slab of meat that's lab grown and a slab of meat, that's from a slaughtered animal. You don't know which one is which. You can't tell the difference. And then after you eat both, and I tell you like, the one this one is the slaughtered one, would that somehow like change your experience somehow? In terms of like, or like, would that make it taste better for you? Like in retrospect, or like now that I know that I've tasted this one, this somehow makes the experience of eating meat somehow better.
I just like having choice, man. I like having choice, right? I'm not like a religious like literalist, right? Like I don't believe in. I'm not like, oh, Muslims are correct. All this, I joke around for sure. But I mean, like, man, listen, there's got to be something to the ways of old, right? I do like. I feel like the more we get towards technology, the less we get away from local communities. And it's just, I see a deterioration in humans, in humanity, right? People are more depressed, they're more sad, they're more lonely, whatever it may be. I don't think the solution is like, yeah, fucking on top of that, here's synthetic meat too. I think there's something to be said about the things that were done in like the past. And I don't think technology is always like a saving grace. I think sometimes like innovation's fucking unnecessary or too much.
I want to disagree with the sentiment there, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I want to echo
the decision isn't like just that you like choice, right? It's that like you value choice so much as to outweigh any of the potential negatives with greenhouse gases or whatever, which I don't know a ton about, or any of the animal suffering stuff, right? Such that like I understand you don't want to ban it, but like you would advocate people like not necessarily switch to lab grown meat, and I think that's I think. That's
I conceded to lactoids hypothetical. If everything went perfectly and all my worries were culled and everything worked out so well, I mean, yeah, fucking sure. I just say I was wrong, keep it pushing, be like, I wish I could make the choice, but fuck it, what can you do? Here we go. This is a better world. But not what
I want to engage with this,
right? And so like unfortunately, like hypothetically, I agree, but reality is I think my world is the reality. And
I agree with actually a lot of what Ollie said, and I do want to engage with it on one as a on one level. I actually think that on some ways they might be able to make the genetically perfectly 3D printed steak and it have like the exact right amount of fat content to like taste buds like ratio. They could probably print it at the back of your fucking restaurant one day, like after you give them a blood sample. Who knows? They could probably do some pretty crazy shit with this. However, that being said, this is absolutely a fucking plot, and I absolutely think it's some kind of fucking conclusion. So yeah, it's absolutely not going to be this scenario where y'all have it. I'm sure we'll have both for a while, but then, eventually they'll start pushing out one, they'll start using moral arguments, some other baby back bullshit, and then there's no more meat. Like, maybe in my lifetime, that's what happens, actually, but in my kid's lifetime, we're getting Big Brother, and they're going to take over with the meat industry, bro. Like, it's just crazy that, the lactoid... Are the one arguing no against this? Like, how are you a libertarian? Okay, with the idea that we're going to replace natural meat with a free market in a centralized location owned by mega corporations that are going to either become quasi governments or take control by the government themselves.
Gibbs, to be
is
fair,
it a free market if you undercut in the beginning, but then just fucking to overtake, but then own market and monopolize? That's not free market.
First of all, it is. But second of all, like this. Sorry. This
look, it's a corporatist.
This lab-grown meat shit, to the best of my knowledge, is probably much more free market, just like in character, than the current agricultural industry. I mean, we pump so much government money into this shit. We pump ridiculous amounts of government money into farm subsidies, and if lab-grown meat is able to. You're saying as we should, okay, but like as a libertarian, going back to what Gibbs just said, got a little bit of problem with like government subsidies for like industries. And by the way, if lab-grown meat is able to outcompete like government subsidized agriculture, that just demonstrates that it is like vastly superior in terms of like a product that people are going to buy.
Well, I agree with you. Let's get rid of the subsidies. They fucked up back.
Sure, yeah.
Heroin's the best product on earth, right? Like
you're never gonna get me to get rid of the subsidies 100%. That'd be great.
Yeah, corn subsidies. I'm gonna
give you one bone, and this doesn't change my opinion. Okay, I still think that the ban should be reversed, and these companies should be able to compete freely. And even then, they're on the back foot because they're not as heavily subsidized, to the best of my knowledge, as these agricultural industries are.
They will be, but it's okay.
Maybe, and if they do, I'll oppose that every step of the way.
The Dems are going to do it.
When we're talking about like some innovations do lead to like negative changes. Social media is the biggest example. Like in terms of our happiness and depression and all this stuff, you see a significant spike. When really in 2000, kind of around the 2012 era, when social media really started like taking off and becoming exponential, especially among young people, especially among young girls. It's been particularly devastating to people. People just used to be happier with life, and they have had a stronger sense of community. This is also probably falling religiosity rates probably has something to do with this. There's all sorts of things that you can point to that have had a negative effect. And so innovation isn't always the best. And I think this can especially be true when we're talking about something as, I think, intimate as your food. And I can understand the skepticism, right? Like, there's a reason why, the old soda that uses natural sugar is just so good compared to these high fructose corn syrup shit, right? And some people say there's no difference.
It's noticeably different.
I taste it's noticeably different. It's synthesized, sweetener that they use like different acids to break down corn, and a lot of that's because corn is so subsidized again by the government that it's cheap enough to make this kind of sweetener. And we also embargo Cuba. So if we didn't embargo Cuba and we didn't subsidize the corn, maybe we would just have naturally, sugary soda potentially. There are examples, I think, of like, skepticism towards pharma companies, especially based on, look at what Pfizer's done in Africa, and food companies based on the shit that they put in our food. I fully understand that. But the solution here of just like, I'm afraid of this, so let's just ban it all, is like the battle cry of every Luddite in every disappearing industry that's ever existed, right? The people who are protesting against, the church banned light bulbs because they said that this is unnatural. God put the sun in the sky for a reason. If God wanted us to fly, he would have given us wings. But here we are flying around, using our light bulbs, using the internet, using all this stuff. And I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit of this happening here too, where some people are just, I think, kind of just afraid of this thing. They can't really fully explain why, but they just don't like the idea of like somebody in a lab coat growing their meat for them. And so they just want to just get rid of it, just ban it, with good old farmers. So they'll stick up for me. But I mean, there's no reason to believe that farmers are going to be less self-interested than, somebody working at a lab necessarily.
Oh no, I think there's something to be said for intuition. If that once again, free market. You listen, should it be like actually banned? I think fuck it, try it out. Let people eat whatever the fuck they want to eat. Right? I like the choice, but the issue is the skepticism. I see the lack of choice in the future for the illusion of choice now. And
you know how much rat shit's in your cereal?
I don't eat cereal.
Well, that's good. I mean, do you eat like oatmeal? Do you eat oatmeal? Do you eat anything that has rat shit in it? Because I bet you do.
Do you?
I surely consume a
for sure.
surprising amount of rat
shit. There's shit in everything. Whatever. That's not really.
I don't want to get sued, but I'm pretty sure there's some like FDA acceptable level of rat shit in this bag. Okay, I'm pretty
insects,
sure.
all that shit.
Well, that's why you probably shouldn't eat that shit, bro.
Eating that shit.
Yeah, I don't eat that kind of shit.
That's part.
I've seen you. You can't tell me that you don't eat shit with rat shit in it.
I mean, sure, I go to the taqueria sometimes. Don't worry. I'm sure they got rat shit in there. Yeah, but like, listen, at least I know that. Yeah, when I'm over here, I'm like, let me get some. Yeah, sure. I'd rather have the el cacaroche in my fucking taco than fucking chemical number 364 that's in there that causes nut cancer.
Like, for sure.
Oh yeah, doesn't red dye one of these cause cancer we have in our food? Like, what do you mean?
You have to pump so many antibiotics into all your animal agriculture that you like just about.
Yeah, that's a problem too. We need to tone that. We need to tone that back as well. God damn it! I agree. You're preaching to the choir.
What if somebody in front of you did like a chemical test and showed that the lab grown meat in front of you has less artificial chemicals than that drink, that Sonic drink that you just had?
Well, that would be crazy because this was water that I just reused the Sonic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is it? But it's not always water. You would agree?
It's usually unsweet tea.
Okay, well then maybe bad example. But,
yeah, I don't do sodas. I'm already fat. Could you imagine how big I'd be if I did soda? I'd be big. That'd be bad.
I'm seeing you eat.
I don't know follow up. I was trying to like appeal to you, but I guess you're.
I do like alcohol.
Sorry.
I bet those fucking Oreo muffins, that I've seen you buy, have more chemicals.
The one Oreo muffin, the one time we did that shit. We did. When did
those muffins got rat shit in them? 100%.
Bro, yeah, I did that one time for the meme. But those were like inedible.
That sounds good though. That sounds delicious.
They were actually terrible. Like I got them because I thought, this is gonna be good, and they were not good. It was like all base and no muffin top, and just not very good.
Oh, so it's just like the cookie without the cream.
Yeah, it was really bad. There was like no cream. I thought they were gonna have like, I don't know. It was just not very good.
There was no cream in the middle.
Well, I thought the cream was gonna be like on top, but they had this like white fluffy cream substitute kind of like thing in the middle. I don't know. It was not good. It was just bad.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I was real disappointed.
That's pretty terrible.
Yeah, this is why you don't eat processed food.
I do want to.
Do you want to ban it because it just?
Yeah, I actually do want to ban that one. That was false advertising. I was thinking they were gonna have like the white like Oreo cream in the middle with some like crumbles on the top, like baked or something. Wrong. It was like spongy.
Olive branch. This is an actual olive branch you gives. What if we don't ban it, but if you sell lab grown meat, you have to like in giant bold letters with like a big warning sign. You can even make it holographic. This is lab grown meat. And on every single package, it has to have that by law. We can write it. We can write it. We can write it into the Constitution for future forever. Any kind of lab grown meat must be labeled.
I got a counter sales thing for you. We can do that if we just also deregulate all the stuff that we need to put in the cattle. So I no longer have to put anything in my cows.
But antibiotic free.
He would, of course, be okay with that.
Yeah, I thought we could counter
that. Fantastic.
Yeah,
you are adding to my perfect world, Gibbs. I
know. I thought I would go see, and then I just
compromise I have to make.
Yeah, and then I can label it organic. It'll be perfect. I'll have the same rules. We just have to put nothing in there.
Yeah, well, it would be organic at that point.
Yeah, it would be exactly. That's too bad. That's not what organic
is. But you can't like inject it with shit then.
Listen, don't worry about it. All right.
A little synthetic peptide for me. A little synthetic.
Hey! If it increases yield, don't worry about it. We got some bullshit testosterone. It'll be good for it.
What if, is this gonna? I mean, I know we've already have like so many fucking like GMO synthesized like plants and everything, but like, I guess is there any point to like doing? I guess there's really not much of a point to doing this with a plant because you could just plant it and then it's just going to grow. You're basically like growing meat in the same way as a plant, really.
Yeah.
They're not though. That's why it's so expensive right now, right? Because you're putting them in the bioreactors. That's why when you build like yeast or you build like for other things like plant like mushrooms, all this stuff, you can put these bioreactors. You actually require, I forgot the term for what thing they require. It's something for like a sheet. It's a special kind of sheet that you have to use to build proteins on, which are different than I guess what you have to do with like plants. And it's way more expensive. And that's why it's like a pharmaceutical grade thing other than compared to a restaurant grade.
Would you try grown human meat?
Fuck yeah, I would. Tomorrow.
Well, okay.
We're gonna have a long.
You were the one person on the panel who that seems to be somewhat contradictory.
I'm not pro that. I'm just saying that's what's gonna happen. I'm okay with that.
You would try
the rest of y'all. Listen, I would try the cool. I'm sure that if we like genetically like went in here and was like we're gonna make the most perfect steak like ever, that like some guy could be an artist of a steak. Like maybe there'll be designed fat little symbols in there. Like we'll have a smiley face with like fat articulated in the marbling. Like that's this point. I'm sure they can do all sorts of crazy shit. In the near future with this. And like, I'm not so opposed to that. Maybe make that the luxury item, as opposed to like, let's just handicap our ag industry here in the United States. Because that's a good idea for national security, along with not a good idea for
not handicapping it. You're just changing the mechanism by which it's produced.
You're absolutely
right. I want to hear the rest of the other panelists here answer the question of whether you would try lab-grown human meat.
I would try regular human meat.
I would too.
Based. Okay, yeah. Go ahead, Non-Fun and Corey.
I wouldn't, but I don't think it would be immoral to.
Yeah, that's pretty much my stand.
You're not curious at all?
During the apocalypse, would you eat people? That's the next question.
I mean, I just
would you have sex with a corpse out of curiosity?
The lab-grown corpse?
No, not even lab grown. Just a dead corpse. I assume you don't view it as a moral transgression.
What if they lab grow a person just for? What if they lab grow a person
for you for the human being?
Hold on.
Wouldn't you be curious to have sex with a corpse then?
The disgust factor overrides any curiosity.
Well, hold on. What's next?
But hold on. But that's like
actually we have dolls for that. It's okay. We have dolls.
Okay.
But like a burger, like a really nice, like well-seasoned burger made of lab-grown human meat.
Okay, would you try a lab-grown pocket pussy?
Hell yeah!
Like, I mean, that's where we're going, right? Like, let's just go down this path. No, but really though, because porn is one of the first ones that
would be necrophilia, by the way.
No, well, but maybe it's got like a little mister that keeps it fucking going. It's got a bio thing.
A mister. A mister.
A lot of
you're gonna keep it fresh with a fucking
mister. Listen, in 40K, I hate to bring up 40K, but like they literally have a guy like skins people alive and they like sew them together and they use their tech to keep them alive and they like mist them and shit. You could basically do that with this. That's where we're going.
That's a good
you have a lab grown pocket pussy. Are you ready for this?
Yes, you could have.
Prime, what would you do?
You have a living pocket pussy, so I'm not sure it would be necrophilia if it's alive, right?
Oh, you keep it alive?
Yeah,
that'd be even fucking weirder.
Yeah,
like a little heart at the
with
end.
my dick, it lives off semen.
Yeah, bro, it's like covered up by the plastic part at the end.
I'm willing to explore it, but in terms of the meat, I mean, if it. My problem with eating a human would be that, like, I'd be killing it. A person who had experiences or potential in the terms of a baby.
It'd just be
I'd have a problem by doing that. But like, just like the meat itself, I don't necessarily, I guess, have a like issue against that. If it's just a lab grown, had no potential or anything like that, then I can eat the meat. I'm worried about prions. Hopefully that's not in there because that scares the shit out of me. But yeah, no prions. I guess I give a little tasty taste.
Yeah, it's usually the worms and the parasites that
feels
not for nothing. That's what keeps me away from pork. It's not so much the halal factor; it's the fucking parasites and what's called. It just so happened that the Muslims were right about it, right? That's all it is.
I also think, by the way,
brainwashed on that one. Like I've eaten bacon my whole life, never had a parasite.
I think another point against Gibbs, you and Ali on this is I think that like a lot of times technological process is done through like practical application. So most of our strides in computing, my understanding is like, or at least in that kind of early form of computing, was due to like NASA trying to figure out how to go to space. And like a lot of that was driven by necessity. That's like why during warfare, for example, like a lot of technological process is driven by necessity. I think that like if there's a market of lab grown meat, like growing organs and shit and like growing replacement like for transplants and all that stuff with like the technology on that would probably like expand pretty dramatically just because like a lot of the experts who are like who now made a living growing this meat, like they're going to have a better understanding of it, they're going to have more equipment to do it, and they're going to be able to like mass produce organs that we can then use to also save human lives.
Yeah, see, my issue with that is like I'm of the belief, and this might be fucking sound socialist, but like I think the government should pay for that type of research because it's beneficial to humanity as a whole, right? If we're going to have government that pays for shit and taxes, like if we already have that system, the taxes should probably pay for like that type of shit rather than them selling us the lab meat so they can subsidize the organ farm. Like I don't care, do the organ farm. I think the organ farm is a universal good. But like, I don't want to eat your like science gush to fucking pay for it.
The science gush is going to cause you to need new. The science gush is going to cause you to need new organs. That's what's going to happen.
That part too, right?
Yeah, and then they're going to rent the organ out to you. You have to pay taxes on your organ, and then you get repo man.
They also might be able to grow human vulvas to extract human sperm. So I'm just saying that's a possibility as well. All right, why don't we just leave it there? I think that's a great place to leave it.
The human vulva, the vulva farms.
Nothing could ever go wrong with that. Yes. Talking about like the horrible effects of antisocial behavior because of social media, right? I'm sure growing vulvas isn't going to cause.
Well, I'm excited because y'all are basically creating Android servitors. That's what y'all are making sure that 40K, like the future that's going to happen is not Star Trek. It's going to be 40K, and it's going to be because of the leftists. I'm really excited for it. Like I just can't wait.
You live the most degenerate lifestyle, Gibbs.
Yeah, and I eat of the earth. Thank God.
You
pussy,
eat of the earth as you inject synthetic peptides and talk about your drugs.
I got to counteract the synthetic peptides, bro. We got to counteract them.
Any case, so we'll leave it here. Thanks all for coming through. Really appreciate you. Not sure if anyone can even hear me.
Yeah, well, we can hear you. I can hear you.
Because I don't know what's going on, man. Guys, I'm working through it. It's just it's tough. But thanks for being here, Lactoid. Thank you, Nonfon. Thank you, Admiral Gibbs. Thank you, Corey, and thank you, Ali. Sorry, I didn't forget your name. I was just looking at something else. I'm sorry. I didn't like.
Well, good. Here, give me 10 seconds while you search for someone to stream out to.
Okay.
Okay. I want to make a quick call out real quick to whoever Hutchinson Hutch, the guy from Live and Learn. For someone who calls guys pussies and bitches for running away from debates and blocked me on Twitter for the most mundane thing as I'm trying to have a conversation with him, didn't even reply to me. I think that's kind of bitch made. So just wanted to make that quick call out real quick. 328,000 followers, and you're gonna block little old me over literally nothing. But yeah.
Well,
does he complain about people like running away from debates?
Yeah, I literally watched him today talk to a guy who was kind of like exploding on him. And he's like, this is kind of like you're kind of being like a bitch if you're just gonna leave the debate. It's like, bro, fuck off.
Let me so I'm gonna send you guys off to there's a person who says in their title, raid here. It looks like they want raid, so and it's a woman. So
it's a woman. Okay, I was about to ask that, yeah.
So it's consensual.
I mean, I didn't I'm not all.
Oh, did he cut out for anybody
else? Right, a heterosexual
Oh.
man is by raiding into women, right? In case anyone had any questions, right, about where Prime puts his penis, okay? This proves all that I'm super straight, okay?
Yeah.
All right? No
That's
questions.
why you were so excited about the grown vulvas, yeah. That's where you put your, yeah.
He's like, I can have multiples of them?
You can have multiples.
All the pussy.
Yeah, I just read it out. Yeah, thanks guys for coming through. Hopefully, I don't know. I might just I'm going to try. Fuck, I really don't want to do it. But I'm gonna have to